Chat. Okay. 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 Enable, maximize. Hi. Oh man, I have been so sick. Okay, just making sure that my audio sounds good. That looks good. That looks good. Can I see? Okay, yes, I can see. Okay, cool. Just making sure everything was getting kind of blurry. Okay. That's good. That's good. Stream is okay. Yeah, stream looks good. Okay. Wow. Hi, how's everybody doing? How you doing? How you be? Talk to the AB, and hope everybody's having a good Thursday. Hope everybody had a good day at work. Me myself, it's been a thing. It's been a thing for sure. Okay, let's see here. Let me just make sure that this is working properly. Just give me a second. Just want to see if people can change resolutions. Oops, sorry, let me do that. Yes, people can. Okay, just making sure. Okay, so that's good. Now we can go ahead and close this out. Okay, you guys can't see or hear anything. Okay, cool. So I think we're good. Alrighty, hi, how you doing? How you be? Talk to the AB, and yeah, I hope we have a very interesting show today. We have a little bit of everything going on. So I wanted to dabble in a few different things just to see what I would be comfortable with or what I'd be comfortable talking about. So there's a few things that kind of go out there a little bit, but they all usually stay in the tech field except for a few. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes as we move along here. Let me grab my fan because I feel like I'm gonna need it. Also, kind of sick. So that's happening. That's a thing. But it shouldn't be too bad. I think I'll be fine. I just took a Zyrtec before this started, so it'll take a while for it to kick in, but I think it'll be fine. Alrighty, let me turn that fan on. There we go. Ooh, that's right in my nose. Let's not do that. Alrighty, let's see if we can get some people helped. Alrighty here, so let's go to work. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Alrighty, and if you have any questions, be sure to put them in the chat. I should see them. It's like literally right next to me. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. Alrighty, so I just grabbed something from the gaming just because I thought it was kind of fun. Should I buy God of War Ragnarok or The Last of Us Part 2? These guys aren't even in the same category, but okay, sure. Finished The Last of Us the other day, and I was shocked on how hooked I was. The ending shocked the heck out of me. Joel did the right thing, to be honest. God of War 2018 was a banger, and I just finished last year, but I was expecting a larger scale, but it seemed Ragnarok does that and more. I heard how controversial The Last of Us 2 is, because I know they kill off blank, but I don't mind playing it. I just want to play a great game before my final semester begins in 2 weeks. I would appreciate any help with this. Thanks for the replies. I'm going to go with Ragnarok just so I don't get burnt out. But I have bought a copy of The Last of Us 2 to play probably right after. This post has made me realize how not everyone can have the same opinion. Most points here are reasonable too, apart from some that said wiping my bum would be better than playing The Last of Us 2. I don't think that way. I don't think that way. Okay. I did not like parts of The Last of Us 2. I thought like it was pretty and there were different aspects of it that were kind of interesting. I did not like the story. I didn't like where they went with it. It was just, it was all over the place for me. Mostly because I wasn't into the whole, like, you just turn this person into the most hated character, and then it's like, okay, now you get to play her. Now you get to figure out why she's such a horrible person. And I was just like, man, I don't really want to do that. And then on top of that, it was like the character and their redemption and who they became over these two games, they just kind of threw it all away. And that I didn't really like. You know, if a person is a horrible person, let them be a horrible person. If a person is a good person, let them be a good person. But if they have a redemption arc and then that redemption arc doesn't pay off, it's like Kill Bill without killing Bill. You see what I'm saying? It's like that level. And I'm not crazy about that. Like if the name of the movie is Kill Bill, and you do not kill Bill, then why would you name it that? You know what I'm saying? So if the name of the movie is The Last of Us and you're not The Last of Us, then something's up. You see what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it. So I think Ragnarok is 100 times better. I'm gonna put my opinion. I don't care if there's 90 comments. I feel like I should also say this. I I feel Ragnarok and TLOU 2 should not be in the same sentence. And the fact that you are making me add them to the same sentence is a tragedy. I feel Ragnarok and The Last of Us 2 should not be in the same sentence, and the fact that you are making me add them to the same sentence is a tragedy. There we go. That's kind of how I feel about it. But no, in reality, though, I think The Last of Us 2 had some good moments, but you're comparing it to a darn near perfect game. I rank Ragnarok maybe like a 9.8. Elden Ring and Ragnarok traded blows this year for me. Like, Elden Ring was excellent. It was excellent. I didn't like, there were parts in the end where the bosses got so hard, and it may just have been a good kind of thing, but I get tired out, man. Like when you think of, like, for example, Sekiro, like Sekiro had so many hard bosses. Once you got to the end, you were just ready to end it. But at the end are the hardest bosses. You know, if you go wrong, you got to fight that fire being or whatever what that dude turned into. You got to fight him, and then after him, you got to fight the dude, the lightning dude, and you also have to fight the lightning dude again. And it's just it's so bad. Well, I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just a lot of hard bosses back to back. And Elden Ring had that too. And so that kind of always kind of makes me a little bit more off-putting. But I think Millennia is really I think of it as a memorable battle, but I don't rank Millennia higher than the monkey from Sekiro. The first one, not when he had his wife or whatever, but the very first one, the level of creativity from that monkey and him switching and all, oh my God, and the head and like the monkey is probably one of the best bosses. Millennia was great, and she was the only one that had that feature to heal, but at the same time, Millennia, like, I didn't like that I had to switch my entire playstyle in order to fight her. Like, I went through the whole game playing as a paladin where I could heal and do a whole lot of damage and heal, and I was super tanky and all that. I went through that whole game, but you can't play her like that. You have to, like, deal some damage or poison her or something like that, or stagger her, and I wasn't really good at stagger or poison. So I had to change my whole build just to fight her. That part I didn't like. But outside of that, you know, but that's more so about me than anything else. That just says I need to get good. That's the way most people look at when they look at Elden Ring, that's what they think about. So for me personally, I would say Elden Ring and God of War are like 9.8. I would rank The Last of Us, like the first one, like a 9.1, 9.2. Like, it was really good. I never got tired of the whole going through, fighting the clickers, all that kind of stuff. You don't get really tired of it after a while. But in the new one, I rank that like a 7.8, 7.6. The story really kind of just put me a little bit off, because it's just nobody had any kind of redemption. Everybody was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go home. That was the redemption of Last of Us Part 2. But, you know, I mean, hey, to each his own. The Last of Us 2 is long, good, but long. I personally wouldn't want to play it right now. After one would get tired of the gameplay loop. Mixing up God of War, Ragnarok, which I think is a better game anyway, would help with the burnout. I agree. I'm sorry, I heard my phone ring, but my phone is right here. That's why I'm like, what's going on? I think it's fine. I I hope it's fine. That was at 5:39, so nobody's okay. I think I'm good. All right. So yeah, overall, I would say God of War without a doubt, outstanding game. Yeah, God of War, I would rank over The Last of Us too. Now, if you said God of War versus Elden Ring, I would be like, how much time you got? But if we're talking about God of War versus Last of Us, I would not say how much time you have. I would actually just say God of War. Alrighty. I just grabbed one, just a random one from real estate just to see what happens. Make sure I don't have anybody calling me. I'm sorry. This on-call week has been difficult. It's been difficult, but I don't think anybody from work is calling me, so I think I'm good. Okay, that's cool. And let me just make sure this is good, and I think we're okay. Okay, yeah, nobody's calling me from work. Okay. I can live with that then. Okay, so this is from Namaria 65, and it's real estate, and just because it's real estate, I just thought it would be kind of interesting just to mix things up. We're closing on our new build mid-February. In our home, the whole street is on a huge hill, causing all the backyards on the hill to be sloped, causing damage to existing properties. My question is, does anyone have any advice on how to address the slope yard with the builder? Our realtor is horrible, family friend. We are having to take over. We don't know what can be done or if we have any leverage. Well, it depends on what you're trying to do as far as buying the home. Like, oh no, you're trying to build it. Okay, well, you can get with the builder and they can actually do something to level it off before they actually build it. So I believe the builder, you should be able to get with the builder to see if they could level it off a bit before building, since it will be a new build. Did you say new build, right? We're closing on a new build. Yeah. I just think that the builder should be able to do something with that because I've seen, like, there's been certain situations where, you know, you have like these sloped hills and you buy these properties that are kind of like lower end. I wouldn't say lower end properties. I would say properties that are a little bit distressed, where they may not have a yard or they may not have grass and things of that nature. And on top of that, it may be on a hill, and people will basically, well, once the house is built, there's not a whole lot more you can do because the house is already there, but you can kind of level it off so that it's not exactly sloped before you build the house. You might be able to level it off, but you know, who am I to you know, say anything about a contractor? If the contractor says you can't do it, then he can't do it. But sometimes I've seen situations where people have been able to build on a hill by leveling off the playing field. So basically, it's almost like if you ever go to like a Galveston or a Florida and they have that seawall, it's almost like that, where they who? Okay, that's it. Okay, so it's almost like a seawall kind of thing, where they basically create a wall that kind of levels it off and then builds everybody on top of that wall. So I've seen situations like that where there have been like literal seawalls kind of built. So it'd be like some 6-foot brick wall, and then everybody is on top of that. So there's been situations like that, but it depends on how steep it is. If it's super steep, then you may not be able to do anything about it. But the only person who will know is the person that's actually building it. So just talk with the builder, talk to the architect or the builder that is behind your build, and they should be able to let you know. But yeah, that's what I think about it. I think you might be my neighbor, LOL. Yeah, I do everything I could get out of that deal. Yeah, I would say just ask the builder. Reminds me of my first house we looked at. Don't think of it, but realtor pointed it out as a problem, and we walked. Yeah, I'm shocked that slopes have lots of people's building on these days. Yeah, some of them slopes, man, they're really steep. If they're super steep, then yeah, they can be a problem. It can be a real problem. But especially if you're at the bottom of it. If you're at the bottom of it and it's a flood area, oh man, you got all kinds of problems. Is not doing it right, which is creating mudslides into neighborhoods, yards, and pools. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to ask the builder. Like, the builder is the one that's doing it. So whatever they say, if you feel uncomfortable, then always back out. Don't be afraid to back out just because the builder is doing something. Now, of course, if you've already bought into the contract and he's already like halfway done, then there's not a whole lot you can do. But yeah, it's gonna be up to the builder on that one. Ooh, oh. I was going to say ooh until I saw all the pottery. Man, this man is all into the green stuff. This man is a vegetarian. It's nice though. I mean, you know, hey, Nintendo Switch. I'm surprised he doesn't have like a bag of Cheetos. But hey, I mean, that's cool. You know, his plant has overgrown to the top. I mean, this man really likes grass. So, and on top of that, it looks like he does a lot of streaming and stuff like that too. So, hey, congrats to him, spinach. So you're into botany. We get it, you smoke. Yeah, that's an interesting build. Yeah. Your build makes me hungry. Hungry. LOL. Alrighty. Congrats to you, I guess. Okay, even his username is Chill Mode Media. This man is half asleep. All right, Chill Mode, man. I appreciate it. Alrighty, so we got another one. A real talkative one. Let's grab the tea because we gonna need it. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. Oh, that's actually pretty good. I'm not about to say that. I am Bambi writes. Isn't that like a potentially huge problem? So my background is sales based, but I've always been an IT nerd. Anyways, many years ago, I was in a company function and I met the sole developer who created the software that my company uses for its sales staff. It essentially was our point of sale software, but it was built in-house. It also acted as our inventory management and CRM as well. It was incredibly comprehensive. Now I also remember Windows 7 had just come out and I asked this person when we would be upgrading to Windows 7. He told me at the moment they can't upgrade to Windows 7 because Windows 7 breaks our point of sale software. And I was like, well, what is your team doing about that? And he said, oh, it's just me. I don't have a team. And I go, so you're the only person who developed and maintains the software? And he goes, yes. And I go, isn't that like a potentially huge problem? Because immediately I was thinking, what if you get sick and die? The guy was older. Good Lord. All right. I even remember talking to my manager about it at the time and going, don't you think it's a massive issue? There is literally one person on this earth who understands how the point of sale system works. I even pushed it explaining that eventually we would be forced to upgrade to Windows 7, and the fact that our software for some reason can't run on Windows 7 is a big problem. I was ignored because I was just a stupid salesman and this was way above my league. So long story short, that one guy who developed our entire POS system got sick and died. Now this was 2012 and our PCs were becoming very hard to use. After all, the most amount of RAM on a Windows XP machine is 4 gigs. And yeah, that was quickly becoming a problem. So apparently we hired an outside firm to look at our POS software, and apparently the bill to essentially reverse engineer this software and be able to tie it all into our databases and have a smooth transition was in the 7-figure range. And when I heard that, I just thought back to myself to my first point years ago. Isn't that like a potentially huge problem? Turns out I was right. Yeah, okay. What's interesting is a lot of companies, I wouldn't say a lot of companies, but most companies will do a lot of things to cut a buck. A lot of times people or companies tend to push things off because maybe they don't have it in their budget at that particular moment in time, and they'll push it right till it becomes so extremely expensive that they have to do it. You see what I'm saying? And it's usually because they're trying to hit numbers or they're trying to hit sales or sweeps or something like that. It seems like you were in the sales business, so it appears that there is a huge selling component to them. So if they're in sweeps or something like that, they may not want to add more people. And on top of that, if one dude is doing it for a cheap price, then I guess the way they looked at it is they don't really see a need to upgrade. And it's kind of hard, because you kind of want people to listen to you, but in those kind of situations, the only thing, I mean, you can voice your opinion, you can shoot out emails to people. But yeah, it's kind of hard to stop a whole company when they're moving. When they're moving, man, nothing you can really say is going to sway anyone, unless we're talking about saving a grip. And generally, what I've found is people tend to listen once you actually give them solutions to the problem. So you can't just go. Actually, I'll go ahead and write this down. But you can't just go to like different companies or companies you work for and give them a problem. Okay, that just means that you're just a regular sales rep or you're just a regular person. Like most people come to like bosses and stuff with problems. But if you come to them with problems and a solution with figures and numbers, then they'd probably listen to you more. So what I've always learned is that it's not a good idea to go to like managers and bosses without a plan or a solution or something that we can do. Now, if you notice something that's a problem that you need to bring to their attention, that's something totally different. What I'm referring to is if you have something that can be optimized so that it saves the company money, go ahead and plan it out. That way they can see exactly how much money they would save making that change. And then if they do go with that and it does save them that amount of money, they'll have you to thank for it. So that's the way I look at it. So with this, it's always hard to stop a car once it's in motion. Typically, I've found that getting people to listen in a company requires more than a problem, but a fully built out solution, as well as indicating the amount of money they can save. That way, if they go with your idea, they will also have you to thank. That's the way I look at it, you know? It's like, you know, those kind of situations. But I understand if you maybe have been a little bit out of your breath because that's not exactly your background. But at the same time, taking that initiative would have, you know, that million may have gone to you. I'm just saying. That's the way I look at it. I'm a very opportunistic person. I'm just like, hey, $1 million for them to fix everything and get all set up with their database software. But you identified the problem like 6 months before they actually needed to actually have a solution. So I would have spent that entire 6 months trying to figure out a better way to go about it and come out with a bid that's lower than theirs. That's what I would have done, you know, and that way, even if it took some, you know, going outside of the norm or outside of what you're comfortable with, but finding somebody else who can help with that bid or trying to train under him while he was alive would also have been very useful. But yeah, you know, to each his own. But that's what I would have done to handle this situation. But I get it, bro. Alrighty. Oh, that's good. Okay, so this is from A694 Reddit. Oh, actually, before we get started, our 48 gig RAM guy actually did reply back, but he didn't say it a whole lot. So this is where our conversation was, and we were talking about, we came up with an idea while looking over this issue in my live stream. How about this? Uninstall the NVIDIA driver completely with DDU, let Windows install whatever it wants for the GPU, then start up Call of Duty and see if your frame rate is better. This is a guy with a 10 to 20 FPS and the 48 gigs of RAM. And then he said, this will let us know if our issue has something to do with the NVIDIA software. How does Windows download the driver? I uninstall the driver and reset my PC. Yes, Windows will automatically install a standard version of the driver without GeForce Experience. You can see this by going to Start Device Manager under Display Adapters. It will go from Microsoft Adapter or Microsoft Display Adapter to the name of the GPU. Right. So as long as you get to the point where it shows the name of the GPU, that means that it does have some type of a driver and you should be able to start up Call of Duty, and then you can see what your frame rate is. Remember, this guy's frame rate hits like 15 and 12 in the loading screen, not even in the game. We're talking about before the game even starts, this man is sitting at 12. So my theory is, even without a driver, just with the basic GeForce driver, he should at least get more than that. But if he does get his right frame rate, he just doesn't whenever he installs GeForce Experience, well, then this issue has to do with something with GeForce Experience or the NVIDIA drivers that he's installing, and then you can just kind of go from there. That's our theory anyway. We're kind of running out of options, but that's kind of what's going on with Folded Meat. Just to keep everybody up to date. Oh my God, what happened to my chat box? Do I have to click on it for it to? Oh, okay, that's cool. All right, so this is from A694 Reddit, and he says, or she says, EXA E1000 issues, please help. I have been having massive issues with my E1000 EXA headphones, and the fact that I can't find anyone to talk to about this is driving me insane. Well, I mean, I'm here. Everybody, people can talk to me. I don't understand why nobody wants to talk. Okay. How you gonna show it and not show a picture? Like, what are we supposed to do with this? That's just silly. Okay. Okay. Images. Okay. It's a gaming headset. Got it. And I can't find anyone to talk to is driving me insane. Constant wee woo sound when the headphone volume is increased past a certain point. Wee woo? Wee woo. Okay. So basically the speakers is I'm thinking oversubscribed, but there's a smarter, more audio word for it. But yeah, he's blowing out his speakers. Certain games will randomly cut all audio to pure ear bleeding static. There seems to be no rhyme or reason to what games are affected. Genshin, Team Fortress 2, and while Minecraft is not. When audio is first started, say from starting a song, the beginning few seconds are distorted. I cannot wrap my head around what in the world is causing this. It makes absolutely zero sense, and it's driving me nuts. Oh yeah, I can tell you. Well, let me see. All right, so it's USB, right? All right. So there could be a few reasons. But for starters, try to plug this in to a front port on the PC. Typically, static can be caused by the USB hub being saturated, which in this case would be the back of the motherboard. Also, let's see. Okay, so he just has that one cable. He doesn't have anything else. Okay, but he was saying that he was having problems. Let me see. Ah, my fan, no. Okay, here it is. I wish he had more pictures, but okay, whatever. Okay. So there could be a few reasons, but for starters, try to plug this in the front port of the PC. Typically, static can be caused by the USB being saturated, which is this case, which in this case would be the back of the motherboard. Also, you can try to plug the headphones into another device like a PS4 or 5 to see if the audio static is gone. Yeah, that's what I want to say to that. So yeah, just move the headset over to a different device just to make sure that the PC is what's causing the issue, as well as try to move it to a front port to see if that helps. So yeah, that's what I would do. Reddit. I would try those two options and let us know exactly how that works for you. Alrighty, here, let's go ahead and go to the next one. Interesting headset though. Alrighty, so this is from, okay, I'll give it a shot. Fingers crossed it works. Okay, I don't even know what he said, but okay, so this is from Tony X Code. He says, update driver. Hi, I want to play a game I recently bought from Steam called Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. I didn't know that was on Steam. I thought that was only on EA, whatever EA's one was. Forgot what it's called. But when I try to load up the game, it tells me Origin. But when I try to load up the game, it tells me that I need to update my driver. I follow the website path it gives me, but then it says the website has not been found. I use Firefox as my main browser. If that has anything to do with it, how do I go about fixing this? These are my laptop specifications. Okay, an i5, 8 gigs of RAM, and some type of product. Okay, cool. Okay. Is this the only game where you have this issue? But when I try to load up the game, it tells me that I need to update my driver. What driver? Is this the only game where you have this issue? Try to update your Well, update what? I don't know if he has an internal graphics card. What's the product ID? That really probably won't tell me a whole lot. No, it won't. Try to check for Windows updates to see if that makes a difference. Is this the only game where you have this issue? Try to check for Windows updates to see if that makes a difference. Also, what is telling you to update and it's sending you to a website? Gives me, but then it says the website has not been found. Is this the only game where you have this issue? Try to check for Windows updates to see if that makes a difference also. I'll just go with that. But here's your latest drivers for your integrated graphics. Oh, okay. So yeah, it looks like we were about to go down the same path. But yeah, check Windows Update to see if it makes a difference. But Windows Update would probably be the best way to go about it, just in case there's anything extra there. But yeah, trying to figure out if this was the only game that he had this issue makes me think that if it wasn't and he was having it elsewhere, then we would be talking about DNS. But as long as we're not, as long as he's only having the issue here, then really we're just talking about driver updates. Okay, Tony Code, I hope that helps. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next one here. What's that? 7:30. Not bad. Gotta love the green tea. All right, so this is from Lukeman9. Lukeman9 writes, looking for a display-port to DVI-D adapter for BenQ 2411Z monitor. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. There's a reason for it, because going from display to DVI-D, you may lose some hertz on that. I just want to make sure that his monitor is not 144 hertz. Okay. Can we? What's up with these sites not giving me pictures to anything? Specs. There we go. Yeah, see, it's 144 hertz refresh rate. I don't know if he wants to do that. Is this the right monitor? Why does it look like a I guess so. Okay, yeah, I guess that is the right monitor. Okay. All right, so my friend requires some support. BenQ 2411Z only supports 144 hertz display if it is connected through a dual DVI cable. Wow. Had no issue with GTX 960, but after upgrading, my friend found out that the 5700 XT doesn't have a DVI port. Looking for a display port to DVI-D adapter that would support 1080p at 144 hertz. We have looked everywhere in our local area, and none of the adapters were strong enough to support more than 60 hertz. Any links for the product would be appreciated, preferably eBay or Amazon. Okay, well, I think you have the wrong idea, pal. HDMI to DVI-D, 120 hertz. I wouldn't go display on that. I'd go HDMI to DVI-D. Yeah, something. Okay. When I used to work at Best Buy, they started, hey, Beck, what's up, man? How's it going? When I used to work at Best Buy, they used to I worked there when they first started really upselling their cables, their actual cables, and they'd be like, oh, it's braided and it's gold, so because it's braided and it's gold, it's $120 for an HDMI cable when you can go get it from Amazon for like $3. It was one of the worst hustles in the world. It'd be like somebody selling you water and you're in the middle of a desert. It's like, oh, I have this water, but it's $487. He's like, well, I can buy it on Amazon for like $20. Okay, well, you go get it from Amazon. That's exactly what this was. And that's what I used to always remember. Every time I look at these cables and they say gold plated and stuff, that's the first thing I think of is getting ripped off. All right, so let's see here. All right, so he needs an HDMI to DVI-D, which is probably the better way of going about it. Let me see. 1080p. Let's see. Does it actually show A display port cable would be best for that guy. Display port should hit 144 hertz. Yeah, but he needs it to go from display to DVI or from HDMI to DVI. Yeah, so basically he has this monitor here, and this monitor only has 1080p at 120 hertz or 144 hertz, but it's only when using the DVI-D cable. So basically, it only takes DVI-D input, and whenever it does that, that's when it gives you that 120 hertz. So it's full HD, and it can go up to 144 hertz. But I was thinking that it may be easier to go DVI-D to HDMI and be able to get that hertz, as opposed to going display to DVI-D, because display wasn't even out when DVI-D was out. So I was thinking that it may be easier to go HDMI. So I was trying to find him an HDMI cable to DVI-D that would work in his particular situation. Let's see. All right, cool. 1080p, 1920 by 1080 at 60. Okay. Support 1080p for about 120 hertz. This item currently supports 1080p by 60. Thank you for your inquiry. Okay, so not you. Fair enough. At least they told you. 1080p, 60 hertz. Yeah, it literally says it. 120. Nobody asked, but that doesn't bode well. Okay. Well. Oh, DVI-D. Trying to find one that would do something like that is so rare. But he has a 6700 XT, which means that he has an HDMI port on his graphics card. So if we can find something that would work there, that may be easier. But none of these guys. Yeah, so this one, 1080p Full HD at 60 hertz. Yeah, as soon as you do that, it's really hard. Oh, here we go. Oh, DVI to DVI, that's not gonna work. 4K 30, 4K 30, 4K 30, 2K 165, but that's USB-C, that's not it. Wow, he is right, this is way harder. Well, crap. Is HDMI going to lock the monitor to 60 hertz? Yeah, but well, I was thinking that it was just the conversion from HDMI to DVI-D that would actually lock it at that. But I was trying to see if there was a possibility that we may be able to get one, because like there was people who were trying and they couldn't find anything. He said he was trying, but he couldn't find one for display to DVI-D is what he was looking for. And I was like, okay, well maybe it's because, you know, maybe we might have some better luck with HDMI to DVI-D, but I'm not exactly sure if it would only go to 60 on DVI-D. It's been so long since I used it personally. So I was like, I might as well just go ahead and try to see if we can try to do something a little different here and get him in the right direction. That's just straight up DVI. No, that's not gonna work, because I feel like he probably already tried display to DVI, and I was like, okay, well, let me try to do something a little different, but you may be right. It may straight up be locked at 60. Yeah, they also say the same thing. And 120, no. Okay, well then let me not do that, and let's try. Let's see if maybe we can find it. Display to DVI D 120 hertz. Okay, it's braided, so it must be better. Jesus. Yeah, he may have a good point here. This is gonna be heck hard. Resolution 8K 60, 4K 60, 1080p, 4K 60, 1080p. Okay. Is it possible to hit 144 hertz for an Acer? The answer is no, sorry. I'm having similar issues. Just got the 3070 Ti and only supports display port and HDMI. I've been trying to get 144 hertz, but there are so many converter combinations that it's confusing. I just bought a brand new monitor instead of dealing with the headache. Ouch. That doesn't make me feel good, but this cable supports 1080p 60. Yeah, yeah, that's what I was worried about. I felt that display probably had no shot either, but I think we may be on that same boat. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. 1080p 60, 60, 60. Yeah, you may be right. Crap. I simply don't see anything that would give you that resolution, regardless if you go HDMI to DVI-D or display to DVI-D. Sorry about that, bro. Yeah, I don't see it. I'm a friend, by the way. Yep, that's him, right? We don't make recommendations as a sub rule. You need to do what's called an active adapter. They run for $100 typically. Yeah, but I don't even know if an active, like for example, if you did display to DVI-D and we say active, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. Because the reason why it won't make much of a difference is because this guy, it's hard to make that guy active. Let's see. Okay, well that's USB, so that's not gonna work. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I just don't see it. I really don't see it. You know, there's a couple things you can try, like this one right here that is display the DVI dual link adapter. Maybe this is it. No, this still says 2K60. Oh no, we got it. But it says single link. But it doesn't. It's not a single link. It's a dual. So single link is the one with those little dots in it. But this may actually work. Maybe that dude was right. Yeah. Okay. Well, yes. Supports 1080p at 120 frames. Okay. All right. My man was right. Okay. Well, now I feel stupid. Let me just erase everything I just said. So thanks to Xmental X, we were able to find this one. Dang, that's a long. Hold on. Whoa. Hold on. I have a Amazon affiliate code. Hold on. Let me grab the affiliate code. Hold on. I'll make it nice and short for him. Hold on. There we go. Hey, man, I'm doing this on my own, okay? Got to put in the affiliate code. All right, yeah, there we go. Cool. So now it has an affiliate code, so we'll just go with that, and that should take them there. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So that's what I would do. What exactly what they said. So. Wow, that took longer than I thought, but yeah, okay. Now we know that the only way you can do that is with an active adapter, and they're super rare, but that's what it is. You have to get the USB port to actually charge it so they can actually transfer the signal. But okay. This one is an HDMI going to lock. Okay, yeah, I already read that one. Okay, just making sure. Okay, so this is from Jordan. Jordan says, I didn't get much love in the R average battle stations. What can I improve while keeping it simple? Well, I like it. Let's see. It really kind of depends on what you're looking for. Like, for example, it's pretty nice. The keyboard's kind of small, but it really kind of depends on what game you play. And then, you know, you have the Shure SM7B, which is this guy right here. So I mean, the Shure is a really good mic. I like it a lot. I don't use it as much for this one because I prefer the Sennheiser because of how far away I am, but the Shure's really good too. So I mean, you know, it really kind of depends on what you're looking for as to what you, if you need anything. So I don't see a headset, me personally, but you know, that may be a design choice for all we know. An ultra wide, yeah, or he can just turn it into one giant monitor. The problem with that is once you start doing that, you have a bunch of extra monitors that you have no reason to use them for anything. Like you may be able to put one on top, but then you have a spare monitor that you can just give away or something. But yeah, an ultra wide. Well, I mean, your mouses are kind of ugly. It depends on what kind of mouse you want, man. Well, what are you into? Mouses look kind of busted. Or no, that's not mouses. Mice. Mice look kind of busted. Mice look kind of busted. But a ultra wide was suggested, as well as a proper matching mouse and keyboard with RGBs, because lights because lights give you a higher FPS. Because lights give you a higher FPS. Exactly. That's the way I feel about it. Bigger mouse pad. Yeah. Actually, he will need a bigger mouse pad, to be fair, because once he gets a full-size keyboard and a mouse, then they'll have to go for the long one as opposed to the gigantic square one. So oh yeah, mouse pad. Yeah, you should probably write that. Because it gives you a higher FPS. Also, your mouse pad may need to be more of a rectangle than a square. Yes, I realize a rectangle is a square, but you get my point. Yes, I realize a rectangle is a square, but you get my point. A square is not a rectangle, though, but a rectangle is a square. So, but either way, he needs a rectangle, not a square. But I mean, you know, okay, I've had builds like this, but it's been a while. Like I didn't put my monitors in portrait until I started doing this, and maybe a new desk. What I found is when I started going through these trying to grab stuff, is a lot of people like that IKEA desk, man. That IKEA desk with the double Alex drawers. People love that desk. Oh my God. I have seen so many of this stupid, I mean, it's not that it's a bad build or a bad setup, but those Alex drawers get really annoying after a while because, you know, then you have to put something towards the middle so that it doesn't bow. If not, it'll bow in whenever you have like really heavy stuff on it. But yeah, that desk, it's going to be really hard to get people away from that IKEA, because that IKEA, those two drawers, those two Alex drawers are like 120 a pop, and then that little shelving right here, this little top, is like $40. So for like $280, you get a full-size desk that gives you all this storage space. So it's really hard to get away from it. So I get it. I used to run this too. I used to have this exact same setup with the two Alex drawers and that little table. You can get away under $300, be out of IKEA, no problem. Yeah, IKEA makes it super, super, super easy. On top of that, if you can't afford both of the Alex drawers, you can get one Alex drawer and then two legs, and the legs were like $25. So you can get like two of the two legs for $40. And now your desk is only like 40 plus 120 plus 40. So what is that, $200? So you can pay $200 plus you get shelves on one side and then two legs. It's maddening. It's maddening how good it can get. But I get it, bro. It's still a nice build though. Well, it's getting there. And the Shure, it really pops it off. That's the setup I had. LOL, legs on the shelf. Yeah, I used to do that too, bro. When I couldn't afford that extra Alex drawer, I was like, look, I need a desk one way or another, and I got $200 to make it happen. But because if you look at like all the other shelves and desks that you can get, like there's nothing that you can get that is better than that Alex with the two legs that is $200. Because you look at anything at Walmart, nothing's gonna hit that price point. So yeah, IKEA had it popping. Everybody I knew had that Alex with the two legs, man. That Alex with the two legs is fire. Don't let anyone tell you different. It is fire. When you broke, man, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Corsair's new shift lineup of PSUs yet to be confirmed. Wow, that thing is really long and short. That's kind of interesting. Huh. What is it though? That's a lot of different ports for a almost SFX. What are people saying? Smart idea. Really appreciate the manufacturers are finally able to get around the changing part layout to accommodate aesthetics and easier building, such as this and the motherboards with the power connectors on the back. Who needs that many? Exactly. Like, well, I was looking to see if they had that 12 pin. Okay, so they do have it. It's right there towards the top next to the 24 pin. So that's a 24 pin, but that's really a 20 and a 12 plus the 12 pin BPR. So yeah, they're doing it based because like most graphics cards like the 4080 and the 4090, they have it breaks out into 4, and so they have it on different what's that word called, different rails. So this is on a rail and this is on a rail and this is on a rail, but it's a little different because now it's on the rectangular side versus being just straight square. So hey, I mean, you know, props to them. The longer they can make it, the better off it'll be because they can fit in smaller cases. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with that, but I like that they're changing it up. It's still pretty small too. It's nice. It's pretty. And Corsair can do anything and I won't be mad. Simply because I got the 750, I got the 850, I got the 600, and I got the 550. Like, you could do literally anything. I still would buy it. At this point, I'm just all Corsair when it comes to my power supplies. Even when I was mining, I had the HX 1200, and that thing was a beast, especially if you go full AMD in your miners. It just, I mean, you can have 6 cars in there and then put it at HX 1200 and you'll be golden. Even though each car, you probably hit about, I'd say about 1,000 from the wall, somewhere in that area, 900 to 1,000 from the wall, maybe 1,020. And that 1200 would just run and run and run and run and run. I love the HX 1200. I'll show you guys, like, whenever my my cameras come in, I'll show you like the my Prodigy build. It's all white with the HX 1200. I love Corsair power supplies. Alrighty, this is from number 2 float. Okay, let me grab my next thing of water. Okay, we're on part 2 of water. All right, let's do this. Move this over here. That's actually really good. That's like cherry limeade, even though it's water. All right, so this is from number 2 float. Monitor won't go up to 1080p, stuck at 1440p. Okay, so this happened yesterday. I plugged my display port into my monitor and now it is stuck at 1400 by 900. Stuck? It is stuck like that in both NVIDIA control panel and display settings. Even when setting a custom resolution to 1920 by 1080 at 144 Hertz, it says the resolution has been changed, but the monitor is stuck at 1440. I have a 3060 Ti, and yes, I do have the latest drivers. This was the first thing I did. It is definitely not a driver issue, as I have 2 monitors and one is displaying correctly while the main one is not. I cannot find an answer that doesn't say just to update the drivers because that is not the issue. Okay, he has a 3700X. Swap them. Swap the monitor cables to see if that makes a difference. Also, it may be zoomed in. Well, no, because he said that okay, it's supposed to be 1080p, but it's stuck at 1440 by 900, which is less. Okay, so it's not able to display it with that particular cable, but swapping is literally what you would do in this situation. Swap them. Swap the monitor cables to see if that makes a difference. If the other monitor goes to that same resolution, then you have a bad cable or port on the GPU. If it still has an issue, that means you need to swap the cable. If it still has an issue, then try a different input on the affected monitor. Okay, I don't want to go too much further than that because I don't want to confuse them. So swap them, swap the monitor cables to see if that makes a difference. If the other monitor goes to the same resolution, then you have a bad cable or port on the GPU. If it still has an issue, otherwise, actually, let me say, on the On the other hand, if it still has an issue, then try a different input on the affected monitor. There we go. On the other hand, if it still has an issue, then try a different input on the affected monitor. Okay, cool. Yeah, number 2, Flo. That's what I would do. I would just swap the cables because you have 2 monitors. You might as well try it. This is also a good idea because you have the 3700X. The 3700X have integrated graphics? I don't think so. I don't remember. I don't think so though. I think it's just the 3600 that does, but whatever. Neither here nor there. I don't think we have to go that far for this one. I think that will point him in the right direction. Okay, 2 Float. Keep us posted. See you tomorrow. Alrighty, this is from Sullyops. Sullyops, the imaginary Pokemon, the evolved form of Sully. Sullyops is a rock grass Pokemon who stays underground and likes to hit people with Razor Leaf. No. Alright, Sullyops. Asus ROG Strix X570F gaming PCIe issues. Copy from an original post from Asus. Okay, whatever. I'm okay with that. Hi folks. So I have been running my X570F gaming with the Ryzen 5 5600X since the CPU's launched with no issues whatsoever. But recently I got a new PCIe card that's causing problems, and I isolated the issue to my motherboard. More specifically, I got a Sonnet Allegro USB-C 4-port PCIe card, and I'm having issues with the BIOS not recognizing it. I originally thought the card was DOA, but I made space for it in the secondary system and can confirm that it works great on a different platform. I thought it might have something to do with the PCIe lane allocation, as I have 3 other PCIe devices, including graphics cards, but the motherboard manual suggests that I should be able to run 884, which is intended configuration, as well as have both M.2 slots populating using X4, all of this at Gen 4. You may have to change to Gen 3 to get this to work. The other cards I have are RTX 3070, and then he has the NVMe M.2, and then he has the TP-Link Wi-Fi 6, which actually does take one. And okay, and Sabrent NVMe M.2 to PCIe. Oh, so he has a Sabrent NVMe M.2 to PCIe populated with a Samsung 970 Pro. Oh crap. Yeah, no, that's gonna be real difficult. I have tried removing all the graphics card, moving all but the graphics card and NVMe drives, but the Sonic card does not work in either PCIe 16x2, which it should run at X8, or in PCIe X6-13 or 6-13, 16-3, which it should run at X4. The motherboard specs state that the third X16 slot will be halved to X2 if a card is installed in the PCIe X1-2, which comes off the X570 chip, but this still happens even without a card installed in that slot. The Sonic card is an X4 Gen 2, and I have tried manually setting each slot to Gen 2. Dang it, he already tried that. Instead of auto while I'm moving things around, but no dice. I can confirm that the slots on the board are not broken, as they've all had various PCIe devices in them in different times. I have also cleaned the Sonic card's contact pins with 90% isopropyl alcohol, and I've blown out all the PCIe slots on my board with compressed air. Okay. Other things I've tried in case it helps: 4G decoding and resizable bar. Am I missing something about how lane allocation works? Even if there was a lane bottleneck with all the cards installed, I can't see what's causing the card not to show up when it's alone with the GPU and NVMe drives, especially when one of the cards is another NVMe drive and it works perfectly. I am 100% sure this is not a Windows issue. 100%, bro. Never say you're 100% anything when it comes to issues, because once people prove you wrong, sometimes they like to rub it in, and you just want to move on and fix the customer's issue, and they want to just sit there and rub it in. So never, ever, ever say you're 100% of anything. You want to get those politician answers like, I think I might, but we'll wait and see, hopefully coming around the bend here, we'll probably be able to get this set up for you, but it really all depends on how the environment is treating you and how the environment is treating us moving forward. Like, I didn't say shit. Like, I don't even know what I said. I just said a whole paragraph with nothing in it. That's the kind of answer you want to give people. You want to give them that politician answer. Literally, there is nothing in that entire setting. Like, I didn't say anything there. That was a whole paragraph, and I said maybe one word. but you heard like a million, but literally I didn't say anything. That's exactly the kind of answer you want to give people. You want to give them hope, but you don't want to give them a definitive hope, because if something may go wrong, then they're gonna be looking at you like you crazy. Okay, so what is he trying to add again? He's trying to add a Sonnet Allegro PCIe card. All right, let me look this up real quick. Allegro USB-C. Ooh, that's fancy. Okay, so one, it wants 10, and then if we look at your motherboard, gaming, X570F gaming, search. All right. What I was trying to figure out is why on earth only one of his drives are boot drives, and I'm guessing he probably has an NVMe in his drive. Okay, so yeah, so he should have room for an NVMe. Obviously he should have room for NVMe. I don't know how many NVMe slots he has, but let's see. So he can do 2 PCIe 4x16s, 1 PCIe 4x16 x4, and then 2 PCIe 4x1. Okay, so that's what he can get, but he can't go into these smaller ones. He can only go into these 3. When he goes into these 3, he has the issue, but he changes to Gen 2 everything, but it still has a problem. So what I would say here is that he can have up to 2 M.2 slots in the M key. I would say move his, okay. I would say to move your, you said it was populated with a 970 Evo, right? Yeah, populated with a Samsung 970 Pro M.2 SSD. Yeah, why do you have this? What's the point? How many cards does he have? With a Samsung 970 Pro, 2 terabyte. As well as have both M.2 slots populated using 4 PCIe. Okay, so never mind. So he already has 2 slots populated, and then he has the Sabrent. Okay, what I would say is to move, oh, never mind. What I would ask is, are you running RAID on your boot drive? He has 2 NVMe's, 2 NVMe slots on the motherboard. Both are populated. Plus, he has a PCIe to NVMe with another 2 terabyte. So he may be running RAID 5, which is why I'm asking. But also, I should probably put a G at the middle of running because I sound silly. What I would ask is, are you running RAID on your boot drive? If not, what happens if you remove the PCIe Sabrent drive and just have the GPU plus the USB-C PCIe card? It sounds like you are saturating the bandwidth of your motherboard. It sounds like you're saturating the bandwidth of your motherboard. This would be the best way to find out. Yeah, because it could just also, you can try to update the BIOS to see if that helps. Yeah, you know, I've run into this situation before, specifically with it wasn't the 3770. They used to have this back in the day. Intel used to have a regular consumer line, which was like the 307070, 307070K, and then they used to have a professional line, which was like the 4330 or 40 something series, and they used to have a professional line, and it was like the X, what was it, LGA 2011. So LGA 2011 was notorious for this, because LGA 2011, you could have 4 gig sticks. Like, so you can populate the board with up to 64 gigs of RAM at the time, which was a lot, or 128 if you were able to find it. But you can populate it with, it has 8 DIMM slots essentially, and it also gave you like 3 PCIe lanes. So it was a bunch of lanes. But when you start to populate all 3 of them, you started to run into problems. So I used to run into that issue all the time when I had my 2011 build. And that was back when, like, because at Best Buy you can get a discount on Intel processors, and so I went for that one because it was the better processor at the time, and I built a motherboard for it out and everything. But yeah, that happens every now and then. Whenever you kind of oversaturated, you run into this a lot. So the ITX version, the X570 ITX version of this, the Strix, the AM5 version board, it actually supports bifurcation, which means that it can have up to two it can turn one PCIe Gen 4 or Gen 5 into 2 PCIe Gen 3s or 4s. However, whenever you do that, or whenever you plug in a graphics card, the other port doesn't work at all, even though it says that it should. So so you run into those issues a lot when you're dealing with motherboards and you're trying to populate more ports than it really has the bandwidth to handle, especially when you have those devices that can have multiples. Like if you have a PCIe that has 4 NVMEs in it, or you have a PCIe that has 4 USB-Cs and you want to give them all what a USB-C is capable of, which is somewhere around 10 gigabits per second. You know, those kind of situations, it becomes kind of difficult for the motherboard to handle. But that's what I would say, Sully Ops. Congratulations on your evolution from Sully. All right, let's go ahead and close that out, and let's go ahead and go to the next one. Man, we had like 8 tabs open for that guy. All right, so this is going to be a new one. All right, cool. So let me get ready. Okay. So this guy has story of the printer that is allergic to paper. Oh, okay. So this is a follow-up from the was it follow-up from Bob? Minor issue, something with delay. Okay, I'm not sure about. Oh yeah, Bob. Yeah. So this guy here is giving us a story from the Bob one we read yesterday. Okay, if everybody doesn't know who Bob is a printer who kept eating paper, and he ended up solving the issue and trying to figure out what was going on, but he had called tech support multiple times to troubleshoot Bob. Bob is this gigantic printer that prints in bulk. So just think of a regular printer, but it's a printer that covers your whole house. It's a gigantic printer, and basically can handle different feeds of paper. And so he had, 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 13, and he was printing them all at the same time, and it would mess up. But as soon as he put in the 8.5 by 11, let it go, and then put in the 11 by 13 behind it, he didn't have a problem. That's who Bob is. But yeah. So he says, reminding me of a fight with a machine I had about a year before I left my last job. We got a new multifunction printer to replace an older machine that was no longer on lease. Brand new machine arrived, new model to the company. It gets installed and everything works for a few months. Then suddenly print jobs and copy jobs suddenly make the machine reboot. The people who used the machine called it in. Tech couldn't find any issues and left. This happened for a couple of months before someone reached out to me. I contacted support, got the tech out, and he can't figure out what's going on. I contacted our sales rep who forwards it up to their tech group, and a second level tech is assigned. I've worked with the second level tech before, and he's good. He's helped find solutions for us in the past. I'm positive he can fix the issue. He arrives and takes a look. He's mystified by the issue. I let him know I've tried updating the printer drivers already. He updates the printer firmware. We run a test print from a user and it works. He's satisfied and he leaves. But sure enough, the next day I hear that it rebooted overnight when they were trying to print stuff. I emailed the tech, let him know what happened. He comes the next day with a replacement board. He swaps it out. We test the printer and it reboots on its first try. Now he's concerned there's no errors, no faults, codes, just the system reboots. He's concerned because he swaps it out. We test the printers and it reboots on the first try. Oh, okay. So when he tested it after he swapped out the motherboard, it reboots on the first try. Over the next month, he replaces the other 2 boards in the system and the power controller board. Each time it fails to resolve the issue, we tried older and newer drivers, different printers, and computers on and off the local network. I've been CCing our sales rep and his boss, our former sales rep, on the status of this issue. One time after replacing the last board, a user walk up to make a copy and it reset while scanning his document. Good God. At this point, he said that they're going to have to take this machine back to the warehouse to strip it down and figure out what's going on. A different model machine is sent to us to use while they take our machine away. The machine was gone for over 3 months due to part shortages. I complained a bit about how long the machine had been gone, and a replacement came, another brand new machine. The second level tech came out to install it because this was now his issue to resolve. The new machine goes in and people begin printing with no issue. He leaves but calls me back the next day to make sure everything is working, and it finally was. We never did hear what was wrong with that first machine. All right, let's think about this. Now I need to know. Okay, so every time when people, it looks like when people were printing at night, it would reboot. Okay, well, typically printers reboot if they're having issues trying to get data, or if there is a firmware or a configuration or something that's causing an issue. They already replaced all the boards on it, but yet it was still rebooting, and it's a multifunction printer. So I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, for it to reboot like that, well, well, obviously, this printer was possessed. ED. Nobody knows how to say possessed until you have to spell it. But everybody knows what it means. Well, obviously, this printer was possessed. LOL. I can't think of a reason why a printer will constantly reboot, but it was only randomly, and it happens at night. I wonder if it happens at night at the same time every night. But this won't really do anything because when he brought in the other printer, it fixed it. So you can't even call it network or power or power socket or location or power plug, because it turns itself back on. So it never cold boots, it warm boots, it just reboots itself. So if it's just rebooting itself while it's printing, then generally it's hitting errors. So it would have some kind of fault on it, but he said that he didn't have any errors on it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I wonder if it happens at night at the same time every night, but I'm afraid of ghosts. So I'll just let it go. Okay, I wonder if it happens at night at the same time every night, but I'm afraid of ghosts, so I'll just let it go. There we go. And we got some LOLs in there. To me, it sounds like you either had a power supply issue or you didn't prerequisite sacrifices. Or you then do the prerequisite sacrifice. Yeah, I was thinking power too, because it made sense, because I was like, okay, well, maybe it's power or network. And if they swapped out the printer, then maybe they swapped out the power cord too. And maybe the power cord was giving you a short, but the power cord should not, like if you unplug it and plug it back in, it's not going to turn on its own. You have to actually press the power button for it to turn on. That kills it being a power supply. It's very rare that you have a printer that will automatically boot whenever you unplug it and plug it back in. Typically, you have to power that guy back on. So, so yeah, in this case here, I can't really call it power. You could call it networking. It's a possibility. But at the same time, the networking issue would have persisted even when swapping out the printer. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I could call it at this point, but I'm on the same page as him. Turns out that the new printer accepted the old one as a worthy sacrifice for now. Yeah, that's, wow. That even has me something like, you can't really call it cable. You can't really call it network. Unless he told me that his printer, upon unplugging it and replugging it, it literally powers itself back on. But I know very few printers that do that. There's a reason for it too. It's because they want you, like for example, if you plug it in, it doesn't want to just automatically turn on the rollers and stuff like that, because it's like dirty power, or it needs to test it. So it's a possibility that there could be like outages and stuff like that. So if there's like a rolling outage, you don't want to constantly power on, power off, power on, power off the printer. So that's the reason why. So it never allows you to, if you unplug it and plug it back in, it doesn't want to turn itself back on, because it could lose power in that particular time, and then it has multiple hits of voltages that can make its variances go out of whack. So you don't want to do that. So that's the reason. But yeah, interesting issue, bro. I don't know about haunted printers. And that was Bob from yesterday. Hi, Bob. Bye, Bob. Ooh. Added an IPS 24-inch monitor to the 42-inch C2. Multitasking is now easier, and loving the size consistency between the two. Might add shelving next. That is clean. That is really, really clean. So it appears that you can go 42-inch and then add a 24-inch for the same height. But the only thing with that is that you now be gaming on a 42-inch monitor, which is really hard to see. Because, you know, like if you think of like Call of Duty and Overwatch and all those kind of games, those are really hard to game at. But if you're at 4K, I don't know. I think I like it. I think I like it. So what am I so afraid of? Um, because it's so even. That's what I like about it the most, like how even it is. But man, that is a nice build, man. Good lord. I used to do that too. Like I have a 4K monitor in portrait, then I have two in horizontal because they're around the same size. Like if you were to lift these guys up, they would actually be around the same size. One of the 4K monitors, like a 28-inch 4K, is the same size and horizontal as 227 inches when they're facing the right way. So yeah, I get that. Pretty sweet, bro. Yeah, that is an extremely extremely even build. The monitors look like they go together. The monitors look like they go together. Congrats, bro. Congrats, bro. Congrats. I saw the headset, so I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't try to assume this person's gender. Xbox controller, and that Xbox controller is clean now, and that PC is clean too. Even though I'm not crazy about having the card that way, but I get it. It's kind of like a show-offy kind of thing with the Lian Li Q58, but it's still a pretty dope build, bro. I like it. Congratulations. The way the two monitors line up evenly is so satisfying. Yeah, that it's an extremely even build. Like you don't run into that very often, where the monitors line up perfectly, and you can put one in portrait and one in landscape, and it works just fine. I also like his soundbar. I always wanted a soundbar. Like I have the what is it called? The Sonos soundbar, and I always wanted to kind of put it on my computer, but I've always had I always never did because I was afraid of the noise. Like it'd be too much noise. Even though I have noise dampening foam everywhere, I was still kind of worried about it. But what if I buy another property? That's exactly what I would do. I would set up a sound bar because I don't like headsets at all. I rarely ever use them. I used to use, the only reason why I don't use like earbuds whenever if I switch to playing games, the only reason why I don't use earbuds is because every time that you turn them on and you put them in, it changes your inputs to the Bluetooth. And whenever you do that, it can have a situation where it can cycle off the audio and it can cut out my audio. So I worry about that. So I would rather have something that's already pre-connected. That's the only reason why I do that. But if I had a sound bar, I would just stick with the sound bar. I love sound bars. But yeah, that's fancy. That's fancy. Congrats, bro. That's a nice build. Okay, another tail. Okay, let me get ready. Oh, we already go over this one? Oh yeah, we already did this one. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was the haunted printer thingy. All right, so this was this is from Crow Jojo, like Mojo Jojo. So back in the day, if people don't know, Mojo Jojo is the villain from the Powerpuff Girls. I used to have a cat that's named Bubbles. Like my mom, when I was a kid, adopted a cat and they called it Bubbles. She lasted till like she was like 37. Like that cat was super old, 37, like literally in human years. So that cat was at least 138 years old in cat years. That cat lived forever. But yeah, the cat's name was Bubbles because yeah, Powerpuff Girls were a thing back then. I keep getting flagged for unusual traffic by Google and a few other sites for about a week now. No idea what's causing it. Our systems have detected unusual traffic from your computer network. This page checks to see if it's really you sending the request and not a robot. Why did this happen? Okay, this is on his phone. I constantly get above message on Google search. Not sure if it's related to or coincidental, but for a little over a week, exactly around the same time, I started seeing these messages from Google. My Wi-Fi home internet has been absolute trash, to say the least. I have gone from anywhere between 20 to 40 megabits per second to 2 to 4. I plan on calling my internet provider this week. Here's what it gets confusing. The data on my phone has also been playing up since then too. Only really noticed it indoors. I get the same error message from Google, although less often. The data on my phone. I usually use to only see such alerts when using a VPN, but my VPN is off. Device, iOS, and macOS. Okay, cool. So he has an iPhone and he has a MacBook Pro or some type of MacBook. Okay, so he has a MacBook and he has an iOS and he's having issues with unusual traffic from your computer network. Well, okay. Okay. So we can't really say, I mean, the chances of his Mac having malware and something like that, it's a possibility, but it's kind of unlikely. So he says his VPN is turned off when he gets this error. Okay. Out of curiosity, on either your iPhone or the MacBook, do you have this warning when opening, was he on Chrome? Or traffic by Google? Warning when opening the browser in incognito mode. This is probably easier to do on the Mac by let's see, Mac. Really, Mac? Every time I need you, you don't want to show me anything. Okay, forget the Mac. He wants to be like that. We'll let him. Okay, this is probably easier to do on the Mac. Probably easier to do on the Mac. You should be able to just click on, right click and just go to, well, here's the iPhone. Oh no, the iPhone won't do it that way. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, out of curiosity, on either your iPhone or your MacBook, do you have the warning when opening the browser in incognito mode? This is probably easier to do on the Mac. So there's a reason for this, right? So the chances of him having some type of a virus or malware or something like that on a Mac is super unlikely. And the reason why it's super unlikely, because it's also unlikely that both the iPhone and the Mac have the exact same malware or corruption or anything like that. And plus it's Apple. So I seriously doubt that. So what you would say to this is, if he's getting this error here, yes, you can look at his router and try to reboot, stuff like that. But you can also essentially go into incognito mode to see if there's any extensions that he has that's causing this problem. Like, for example, VPN is an extension that you can run on your browser, and that could be causing this issue and him not realizing it. So yeah, that's the reason why I say to try an incognito mode, because all of your extensions will be disabled at that point. Also, have you tried reloading your router to see if that makes a difference? Yeah, that's how I would handle this. If my Mac wasn't tripping. Oh, maybe because this is turned off. Yes, it's because this is turned off. Okay, let's see. Let me see. Let me look. Are you alive? Please be alive. No. Okay. Fine. Oh no, you won't actually connect to that, would you? Oh yeah, it would just be this. Okay, yeah, you're not wanting to work. Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna make you work. This is fine. Okay, well, that's what I would do, Crow Jojo. I would essentially run in incognito mode to see if it makes a difference. Alrighty, we are in group 5. Hooray! I should actually do this like that and put it in groups. That way it'll be a little bit easier for me to deal with. I like this new feature. I just got to get the hang of it. Okay, obvious expert 007. Bro, I'm gonna say it like this. Just having the golden gun doesn't make you an expert in 007. I'm just saying. Obvious expert 007 says, the market has been getting busy all of a sudden. Oh, this is investor type stuff. All right. I thought higher interest rates would make it much easier to grab properties, but I've been having difficulties finding the good deals. Wherever I go, there are dozens or more other investors putting their bids in. Homes are selling lower than a couple of years ago, but the biggest challenge is being number one on the sellers list. With the spring season upon us, I feel sellers are going to get greedy again. Anyone else seeing the same thing? I'm not seeing anything with the sellers themselves being greedy. Well, okay. Okay. I also live in Texas and Dallas, and we got destroyed when it turned into a seller's market, because you had to compete. Like, it was so bad. So what was happening in turn, if you ever want to buy a house, right? So let's say you want to buy a house. And let's say the house is, I don't know, let's just give a round number. Let's say it's $300,000. All right, so you want to buy a house for $300,000. You offer $300,000. Okay, well, that's not enough to actually get the house. So back when it was COVID times and everybody was looking for properties, they would actually bid each other out of the market. So like, for example, there was people that was coming in that were from like California and stuff like that. Well, in California, you can get a house. Like if you had a house that's in California, you can sell it and take all that equity, which is somewhere around like $500,000, and buy a full house in Texas, cash, be done with it. You see what I'm saying? So they'll take all their equity out and they'll move it to Texas, and they would bid on these properties. But because there was such low shortage in your real estate, so much lower shortage in housing, they would actually have to bid on these homes. So now you have these houses and you're competing with people from California who have way more money than people from Texas just from selling their homes in California. And then on top of that, nobody working at jobs and offices, so they never needed to go back to California. And they were all buying these homes that only, we didn't have a whole lot of stock to begin with. And that was raising the price of the house. So if you go and you try to offer 300, they'll laugh at you. And so now people were paying $25,000, $50,000, $75,000, up to like $60,000, probably the highest I've seen, over asking price just to get that particular property, especially in areas like Dallas, Frisco, Austin. If you want to throw some Florida stuff in there, that as well. But generally Dallas, Frisco, and Austin, right? So if you wanted to buy, you had to go over asking. Okay, not only that, here's the kicker. When you go over the asking price, and let's say you won, okay, you know what the tax people are going to do? Okay, well, even though the price and the property taxes is at $300,000, because you decided that is $370,000, okay, your taxes are now $370,000. Does that make sense? Because so they raise the taxes to whatever you think the price is worth. So when they go and they inspect it and you say it's $370, you're like, oh yeah, I agree, it's also $370. Because of that, your taxes are now over $370, not $300, even though the list price was $300. So now your taxes go up by $1,000 or $1,500 for the year, simply because you went over the actual price of the property. On top of that, you now have $70,000 of dead money in that mortgage. So now you get a mortgage for $300, let's say you put 20% down or whatever, you now have that $70,000 in the hole. So now you have this property that's already $70,000 in the hole, and so the property already has depreciating value because it was only at 300. And now you have it at 370, plus you're paying higher property taxes because they put it at 370 because that's what you were willing to pay. Plus, you're already negative on the property, right? Then COVID ended. So now all these people that are in Texas that moved from California now have to go back to California. So now you have people that were giving up their properties and selling them and stuff like that because now they had to go back to work. So, oh my goodness, it was a nightmare. It was a mess. Now, back to what he was saying, where people now, so now the market is kind of cooled off and there's more property. So now it's a bit more of a buyer's market. However, when you're at this price point where they're at the lower price point. And generally when you're at a lower price point, you deal with investors, and investors have money, and you don't want to, and it's kind of hard to kind of buy out investors, especially when they're well established and they have several different properties. It's very hard to buy them out of a particular deal. Like if you see a good deal, 9 times out of 10, most people also see that good deal. So especially if you're in like more ideal markets for properties, like for example, Detroit, Indianapolis, parts of Florida, things of that nature. So when you have these markets that are actually very, very popular to buy property in, you're going to have a lot of competition because people are trying to get as much real estate as they can in order to get a lot of rent, because rent has gone up over the years as well. So yeah, anyone else seeing the same thing, it going back to normal? I don't see it going back to normal because everybody has to go to work now. So I don't see it going back to normal because everyone has to go back to work now. The days of Californians doing what they pleased by selling their homes and moving to cheaper areas are over. LOL. LOL. Yeah, that's the way I feel about it, man. I think now that everybody kind of has to go back to work, and people that were from California moved to Texas and they were working from home, now they have to go back to California. A lot of those houses became available, or they're renting them out. I don't see it going back to normal because everyone has to go back to work now. The days of Californians doing what they please by selling their homes and moving to cheaper areas are over. LOL. But yeah, yeah, the market is starting to pick up. It's picking up, but the interest rates themselves are kind of, they're going down a little bit, but it's going down very, very slowly. So yeah, the market is doing market things, but you could also attribute that to the fact that it is January and it's not at the end of the year. Typically towards the end of the year, like October, November, December, the market tends to slow down anyway. So January, February is when the market picks up anyway. So you can just attribute it to that. So there's a lot to talk about when it comes to real estate. I can go on for days about real estate. That's why I was like adding some real estate stuff in here just to see exactly what I want to do, what I want to talk about. But yeah, obvious expert. That's what I feel about it. Okay, this is another one. All right. This is from Peisho Cajun. Make sure y'all can hear me. Yes, you can. Okay, Peisho Cajun writes, LTL FTP on desktop, so rake me over the codes for any spelling grammar. What's the LTL mean? Okay, whatever. Short little story that I'm sure most of us have heard, but might make y'all chuckle from my previous employer where I worked in a walk-up desk support office. Hey, my Wi-Fi customer. Hey, my Wi-Fi isn't working. I can't connect to company Wi-Fi. Mind if I see your computer? Tap, tap, tap. Connection looks good in here. Where are you having problems at? Customer, my house in next town over. Why isn't it working? Me, that's like 20 miles. Wi-Fi doesn't work like that. And the customer says, well, why not? Me, physics. Now let's get your VPN working. I tried to be diplomatic with my customer service, but this guy was a mechanical engineer. Sometimes the bluntest answer worked the best. Yeah, I mean, okay. You gotta understand, man, when you engineer, engineers and doctors, we get this a lot, right? So anybody in the STEM field, the engineering field, and people that turn into the science field, like you keep watching me, you'll go into the science field. Like people that are in these fields, right? You gotta understand, when you first start, you are great at one thing, okay? You have to go through trials and tribulations to become great at multiple things. So a lot of times you run into mechanical engineers or you'll run into software engineers or computer engineers. They are good at one thing. They are good at programming. Now they can program with a lot of different codes, or they can fix computers, but they don't know anything about networking. They don't know anything about security. They don't know anything about programming. Or you'll get a programmer who doesn't know anything about networking or security or Linux or operating systems or any of that. They just know how to do their one job. So it takes experience and also being put in those kind of situations to get good at multiple things. So when you start to get a job where you have to troubleshoot multiple products, that's when you become good at something. And then you become great at it when you have just that one technology and then you just do that over and over and over again every single day of your life. Then you become great at that one thing and just good at a lot of other things. So yeah, you're gonna run into that when people just don't know anything about, like I've had doctors that don't know anything about internet or Wi-Fi, and I've had doctors that know everything about internet, Wi-Fi, and computers. So like I've had doctors that build out their own clinic and they do their own technical support, and it saves them so much money because they don't have to hire anybody. And then all they really need is the nurses to help them with their particular clinic. So they'll set up the clinic, they'll set up all the computers for the nurses, they'll make sure everything is working, and then they'll hire a nurse that's somewhat tech savvy to keep the computers running when he's busy. So you got to be very careful. Some doctors know as much about tech as most tech people know, and so yeah, it's kind of an interesting one. It all depends on where they came from and stuff like that, because some people may come from a technical field and then go into the medical field because they may have like a bachelor's in computer science or whatever, and then they may have to go back and then get their biology and all that kind of stuff. So they already had the math. So it's one of those kind of situations. So yeah, you run into that a lot. What was I gonna say? Master Jack of no trades. Master of one. Jack of no trades, master of one. There we go. That's what I was thinking of. Jack of no trades, master of one. LOL. That's exactly how I feel about it. But I mean, it's like that when you first start, man. because they want you to get good at a particular field, and it takes other companies and you go into other jobs in order for you to get that whole it clicks picture, where somebody can ask you a CPU question, or they can ask you a Mac question, or a Linux question, or a Windows question, or a iPhone question, or an audio question, or a programming question, or a security question. It takes having those jobs and doing those jobs multiple over years before you actually are able to talk about those. But nowadays, you know, they'll be pulling people out of college and they don't know anything about any field, and they'll just teach them that one field, and they'll just do that for like 10 years. And so they'll be excellent programmers, but you better give them a laptop because they don't know anything about fixing a computer if it goes down. They just use their MacBook and let Mac deal with it if there's a problem. So, you know, to each his own. You know, it take, like, I think learning a lot of different technologies is always kind of the way to go, but at the same time, it's kind of a dying breed because you don't really need that whenever you can have somebody who's an expert at one. You see what I'm saying? Because if you're an expert at one, you can go and work for any company and still be excellent at that. But some of these companies, when it comes to the technical field, they don't want you to just be an expert at one thing. They want you to fix their firewalls. They want you to fix their security. They also want you to write code. They want you to test the code. They want to make sure that it's working properly. They also want you to know Linux. They also want you to know like the Mac, and they also want you to fix that. They also want you to work with people and be and talk. You see what I'm saying? They always want, it's ever increasing what they want from certain people at different levels. So, you know, it really kind of just depends on the person, but that's how you kind of grow into it. But yeah, not jack of all, no trades, master of one. I mean, you turn on a radio and go 20 miles away. You don't expect to still hear the radio. Wow, you turn on the radio and go 20 miles away. You don't expect to hear the radio. That's probably one of the best analogies that you can give for this. If I turn on the radio and I walk 20 miles away, do you expect to hear the radio? That makes exact sense. I don't know. I think that maybe he thought that it was supposed to be like VPN, but I don't know. I'm not gonna get into it. But Peso Cajun, that's a good job. That is a funny joke, sir. Alrighty, this is from Zazina, Zesnia. Okay, so I've never seen a situation where the R is silent. Or maybe I have, I don't remember. But Zesnia writes, resolution problem. All right, so we're back with this 1660 tie again, like every other issue. I don't know why, but we keep getting 1660 ties, and it's been driving me crazy. Probably because a lot of people have laptops. I have a GTX 1660 Ti and 27-inch Make View monitor. The problem is that no matter what resolution I choose in game, for example CSGO, screen says in the same size and only the image quality changes. So if I choose 1440p, it is as big as 1080p, but much more sharper. If I say 1440p, it's as big as 1080p. I tried to DRs in control panel for higher resolution, but I thought that would make things smaller, but it's still the same. No matter which resolution I pick, the size is always the same. All the HUD in the game is so big it burns my eyes. In Windows, everything works perfect. When I choose higher resolution, it makes things smaller, but in game, the size doesn't change. Anyone can help? Yeah. More than likely, you may have some scaling on the monitors themselves. Try to set your scaling of the monitors to 100%. Then fire up whichever game is giving you a problem to see if that's the issue. If it is, you may need to go down to a if it is, then you may need to open your games on a different screen so it will set to that monitor, or change the primary monitor. Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be scale. So like the scaling size on the resolution of monitors. So like you can do a resolution and then you can increase the scale size. And typically, if you increase that scale size on a monitor that is used for all your gaming, then typically what can happen is that the games themselves, because they load according to that monitor, they'll automatically be big. And then they may have problems with resolution because they're not able to adjust to the resolution they want to because it's scaled. So I think that may be what's happening here. So yeah, I would go with that and then kind of let us know what you get from that. Also, you can try to update the drivers to see if that fixes it as well, but we'll go with the driver stuff if they reply back. Okay, Zazenia, keep us posted. Alrighty, get some water. We're doing pretty good. Got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's only 8:40. We're gonna maybe need some more, but we'll see. We'll see. Once we get down to like here, we'll take a look at it. All right. So this is this is a lot. Okay. So this is from Ashamed Chard 1021, and they write, "Advice from the experts, please. So I built my computer. It's an open case, wall-mounted, liquid-cooled PC. Good Lord. I love how it looks and get compliments from friends, but honestly, it's not what I expected. It's not as powerful as my 2022 M1 MacBook Pro, which is a very powerful laptop, or even come close. What can I do to rocket fuel this thing into surpassing or even becoming equivalent to my Mac M1? Here are my specs." Well, Mac M1, okay. Well, we're already done talking. The Mac M1 trades blows with like the 5600X. Like, it's really powerful. But yeah, to answer his question, it's processor. This is, I mean, you need to continue reading. 32 gigs of RAM, 64 gig, RX 590, which it's okay. To be fair, the 2016 MacBook Pro that was on Intel actually was so compatible with the RX 590. You can put an external eGPU on that guy and it will automatically know which graphics card it was. There was no drivers you need to install, none of that. You just plug it in and it automatically knew. Because I used to run an RX 580 on my MacBook Pro, the 2016 edition, and then have 3 monitors off the eGPU. It was great. It was glorious. Oh, I loved it so much. And then Windows 11 Pro. What can I do for this thing to run it like a beast? Upgrade CPU and motherboard. The 2022 MacBook Pro M1 has an extremely powerful CPU, and so you would need to upgrade to a 5600X or better, and the subsequent motherboard / memory to be in the same tier. Yeah, that CPU, bro. Comments are locked. What? Why are my comments locked? I'm joined. What? Looks like you've been doing that a lot. Take a break for 5 seconds before trying again. Did I say something bad? The 2022 MacBook Pro M1 is an extremely powerful CPU, so you would need to upgrade to a 5600X or better, and the subsequent motherboard / memory to be in the same tier. Comment. Comments are locked. Okay, whatever. Your Ryzen 5 may be years older than the M1. Yeah, well, okay. Well, he already answered, so I'll just leave it at that. That's kind of weird. I've never not been able to answer in hardware. What the heck? Can I answer other questions? Now I'm curious. Yeah, you can discard it. 3080 low GPU in FP. Okay, we'll just grab one. Just to make sure that I can actually type in hardware. All right, so this is, this is tech support. Open hardware. Was that one in tech support, but open hardware? Yeah, it was. Okay, so that was from tech support that did that. I want to discard it, yeah. 3080 low GPU usage in FPS in game. Okay, so maybe tech support is kicking me out because I'm doing too many. I mean, they're more than welcome to, other people are more than welcome to jump in. Okay. Any idea what's up with my TV? We'll just grab this one and see what happens when I start to comment. I turned it off. A few minutes later, it turns itself back on. I turned it off again. A few seconds later, it starts making this weird noise, and the screen is on, but it's all black. No clue what's wrong. What can cause this to happen? Well, did you play a VHS tape? A VHS tape with a little girl and a whale on it? Well, did you play a VHS tape with a little girl and a whale on it? LOL. No clue what's wrong. What can cause this to happen? A few seconds later, it starts making this weird noise and the screen is on, but it's all black. Well, it could be having power issues, or it could be on the verge of going out. I would try to get it off a power strip and plug it directly into the wall to see if it makes a difference. Also, does the menu show up even when the screen is black? All right. Comment. Okay, maybe it was just on that one where they locked it. I think that person may have said something or done something that may have said some things. So like tech support isn't the easiest thing to actually start writing to. You have to have a bunch of karma. Well, not really a bunch. You need like, I think I needed like 4 or 5. But over the time that we've done this, it's increased. I'm getting there. Well, did you play? So he was talking about his TV going off and on. I was like, well, did you play a VHS tape with a little girl and a whale on it? So that is The Ring for anybody who is not aware. Well, it could have been a power issue, or it could have been on the verge of going out. I would try to get it off a power strip and plug it directly into the wall to see if it makes a difference. Sometimes people like to plug in TVs on the same strip as everything else in their house and then run it off of one power strip and oversubscribe that particular power strip. So I was thinking that maybe he has some dirty power and he may need to plug it into the wall. So that's a possibility. So it's a low one, I agree. It's a low one, I agree, but it's something that he can at least check. Also, the menu show up when the screen is black. This is a good one, because if the menu shows up when the screen is black, then it may just be input. Alrighty, it's Jamie Dodger. I hope that helps. So yeah, that's an interesting one. We just kind of grabbed one out of nowhere. Ooh, so Concept 1L Lenovo tiny PC with a 1650 in it. A 1650, that's almost like a lot of these all-in-ones are now coming with graphics cards, which is pretty sweet. So, well, you only get that display, and then these look like almost as if they were a part of the motherboard, but maybe not, because he has an HDMI, he has a display, he has 2 displays and an HDMI. That's pretty sweet. Now, this is straight Lenovo. This is the exact same power cable that other Lenovo devices use. I mean, it's nice. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. That that one at the top was just that one single display port, but everything else looks pretty sweet. He has a free, oh, that's for the DIMM slot. Oh yeah, so it looks like he did it himself. So basically, how the hell did he do that? Oh, okay, so he had a riser and he plugged it in there and had it going in. Okay. That's actually pretty sweet. And then he took that the back of it off so that it could actually fit properly. Yo, that's pretty clean. Okay. Look at you. That is dope, bro. Or brodette. That's not bad at all. Man. He really wanted that graphics card on there. We playing Overwatch one way or another. Oh, man. Okay, so it's a culmination of a project he's been working on. Now, here's the concept. It comes in at my workplace. Yeah. So yeah, this mod is completely doable. So he's trying to use it for work to have like a tiny PC and kind of have it be able to also game, I guess, whenever nobody's around. But that's still pretty sweet, though. And he has display port and HDMI on the end of it. That's a nice little build, man. And it still looks like a Lenovo thin client. Now, of course, hopefully nobody sees his desktop and send it back to Lenovo, because then they'll get a free graphics card and whatever M.2 he put in it. But as long as that doesn't happen and nobody's messing with his PC, I think he's okay. And also, as long as that's not the office's PC, hopefully that's his. But that's none of my business. So I'm just gonna mind my business. But overall, dope build, bro. I like it. This limits the options to the 1050, 1050, 1650. Yeah, because of also how small it is. At least for recent GPUs, as far as I can tell, this is when I happen upon the shoutouts, blah, 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 a Yesen GTX 1650 low power. Yeah, you have to use that, or you have to use that 30, it's not a 3060. It's almost like a 3060, but I forgot the name of the card. It's super fancy and super small. Okay, so this one is from, oh, no, we already did this one. We're way back here. What am I doing? Okay, yeah, we did that. But, ooh, look at that one. Good Lord, that's pretty. I even like his chair. That's Secret Labs. That's this one. It's this one. It's just that he doesn't have anything on his like, I don't have anything on my back, but it looks like he has a stitching of God of War. That is a nice little build, man. I like the, I kind of want to go to this kind of build right here where you have the widescreen with the curve and then you have another monitor on top. But my thing is, I need a third monitor that would actually have like the chat. So you know, and then on top of that, the chat monitor has to be super long and super huge. So I always wanted to have a build like this, but I don't know if I'll be able to keep it. But that mouse pad is utter fire, bro. Good Lord. I bought a mouse pad that lights up and I wasn't happy with what it did because it just didn't do anything. It's nothing like his. His mouse pad probably cost more than his computer. No. It's probably not that bad, but it's kind of interesting, that mouse pad. And then he has multiple keyboards for multiple situations, I'm guessing, or just kind of for show. And then he has all of the pop cap things, or pop, whatever they're called, something pop. That's actually a really nice, ooh, the aesthetics. That mouse pad costs more than my entire PC. LOL. The aesthetics. That mouse pad costs more than my entire PC. LOL. Yeah, that's really nice. And it's really cozy. Yeah. Yeah, that's really nice, man. Congratulations. I like that build. Oh, look what he has. He has the Razer, the Mini. Where's it at? Yeah, this right here, Siren Mini. He has this guy. Siren Mini, right at the top there. That's the Siren Mini. It's a pretty good like a starter. If you wanted a starter mic, I would recommend the Siren Mini. It's pretty cheap, and it kind of gets the job done. And plus, it's just a single USB port going into your computer. So if you ever wanted to start with streaming and stuff like that, the Siren Mini is probably a good way to go. Made a whole video on it and how do you set it up for whether it's OBS or if it was vMix or any type of streaming software or any type of streaming software that you wanted to use. I showed how to set it up for the Razer Mini. Back when I had time. But yeah, that desk mat is fire, bro. Like if I can get a link to that desk mat, thanks, you can get them. Oh, okay. There's a place where you can buy them. What is 699 PH? Oh, PHP. He's in Filipino pesos. That's what that is. Wow. My currency. Wow, that's actually crazy. I wonder if you can get like lights to light them up. That locals, that looks very aggressive. Desk mat. Keep coaster and desk mat. That's not a lot, by the way. That's like I don't know, like 20 bucks. 1,300 Filipino pesos. Alexa, convert 1,300 Filipino pesos to USD.
3,000 Philippine pesos is about $54 and 55 cents.
Okay, so that's about 20 bucks. Still, oh, pretty sweet. And I just realized in my head, I said it so quickly that I didn't think about it, but I'll never say the A word again. It was like, oh man, I didn't probably set off everybody's gear in their home. But yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's where you can get it at though. That's kind of nice. That is very nice, sir. Congratulations. Alrighty, Couge Design C13, a 14.6 liter case, kind of fat, but it looks like you can do quite a bit with it. Now, that's interesting. If you look, that almost looks like a full-size Noctua fan, like a full-size 120. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's bigger than the S1. That's kind of interesting. And then, but you know, it still has that same little setup where you can run the 3 slot with the card at the bottom, getting air from the bottom. I like the one that was suspended so you can make sure you can get a ton of air, but this is actually still pretty good too. Let's see. That's a big boy, man. That's a big baby. 14.6 liters. That's a big boy. I'm tempted to pick up one as well since the production finally finished. How do you like it so far? Interesting. First time I've seen this case. How are the thermals? I mean, it's a fat case. Let me see. Koosh Design Z13. I've never heard of it. Images. Koosh Design Z13. Compatible with 3 PCIe thickness flagship models. Hey, check it out. They can do up to they may even be able to hit that NHD 15 just by looking at this. That's actually pretty nice. That's a lot of headroom there. That's why that fan looked like a 120, because more than likely it is. He probably has some type of Noctua, but like the one that's above the L9A. I think it was like a, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, he has a pretty nice size Noctua fan on there. Now, this is some 61 millimeters is small. So I can already tell you it does not fit a 4080 or a 4090. The 4090 is 70 millimeters wide. Somewhere in that 70 area. So anything that's in the 61s, it's not going to hit. 3025 is a pretty long width, but not only will this not hit the VPH power or whatever pin, that won't actually work in this case either because it's going to stick out. Like it jettisons itself out. So basically the pin is like this outside of the card, and then you have to turn it like here. So it's going to bow outside the card, and you won't be able to put the side panel on. So 4080, 4090 won't work here. But I do like that they have room for hard drives and SSDs, though I wouldn't do that for a 3090. But still pretty sweet. And it has external water cooling. Okay, so it has an external water cooling setup. Okay, cool. Check that out. So it has a little back of it so that you can actually drain the water or hook it up to something. That's actually pretty sweet. That's actually really, really sweet. And then you have all your fan mounting positions. And then it says a easy to use front interface with a USB-C and a USB 3, 10 gigabits per second. So, hey, and you just put the top right on it. That's actually pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty sweet, man. That is pretty sweet. I can't even front. I like it. It's fat, but I get it because you can put all your stuff in it. So, hey, who am I to judge? Nice build. Nice case. The design seems pretty sweet. I think, does the GPU get hot, or are the temps the same as the Ghost? That's a Ghost S1, right? I feel like it was in one of his pictures. I think it's the third one. I think that's a Ghost. Let me make sure before I say that, because I don't want to be looking like a dummy. Ghost S1. Yeah. Or maybe it's not, but Loc Ghost S1. Yeah. Okay, I'm not right. I'm not wrong. That's a Ghost. Nice case. The design seems pretty sweet. Does the GPU get hot, or are the temps the same as the Ghost? That actually is an interesting question, because the temps are the same as the Ghost, then you know the Ghost is probably the smaller rig, so I'd probably go with that just to save some space. But they're both equally fat. This one's probably a little bit bigger, but to each his own. That's a pretty nice build, because the graphics card, the way it's sitting, it may be able to get a pretty good amount of air if you have some pretty nice sized feet. But overall, pretty dope deal, or pretty dope build, though real bro dough. That's what I was trying to say. Gotta slow down to say it. Jesus Christ. This is from the 123 King Reddit. I've tried putting it in rice, but it hasn't helped. Any ideas? I want to call CPS on this motherboard. LOL. It's not even a motherboard. What is that? I tried putting it in rice, but it hasn't helped. So about UDP, but you wouldn't get it. Yeah. I want to call CPS on this motherboard, or what's left of it. Left of it, LOL. Yeah, that is disgusting. I don't even know, bro. I don't even know. Like, it is gone, bro. It built a mold. It has a whole colony Like, it's just literally, oh my goodness, that is craziness. Bro's computer got infected by the flood. It's a clicker. His computer is literally a clicker. He can't even talk when he's near it. He has to be quiet so he can make sure he can stab it in the neck. Not just infected, but they freaking gamed on it. Grave minds get bored too. Yeah, obviously he was gaming on that. The most intelligent super being in the universe, and it uses its intelligence to play grand strategy games. It's the logic plague. Yeah, that is I think he needs to use more rice. 7 out of 10 with rice. A bit of contract spray may do the trick. Oh my God. The basmati rice instead of brown rice. Yeah, no. Did you try turning it off and back on again? Yeah. You have to plug it in, bro. Like, obviously, everyone knows you have to plug it in. That's going to fix all of this. It may even light up. Who knows? But that is, Jesus Christ. Like, I was hungry, but now I'm not. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Jesus. What a setup. Okay. Oh, man, this is long. Okay, let me get ready. Well, that's interesting. Okay. All right, so this is from Cooper Fox. Cooper Fox writes, the unholy file. First time posting, please smite me if I've done something incorrectly. Got a ping from a user on Microsoft Teams. Hello, my OneDrive is not syncing. Does the application say it's having trouble syncing, or are you missing files? I don't know. What I mean is, how do you know it's not syncing? I don't know. Okay, let me rephrase that. What is the actual issue you're experiencing? My OneDrive isn't syncing. We've established this. One in particular about the OneDrive app is leading you to believe it isn't working. It's not syncing. You're not listening to them. Trying to remain calm. Okay, is it giving you any error messages? Yes. What is the error message? Not syncing. Starting to dig my nails into my desk. Okay, I'm going to remote to your PC and take a look. I'm in a meeting right now. Can you do it in the background? No need to control your PC for a few minutes while I diagnose what the actual problem is. Okay. I proceeded to remote to this PC and discover he's mid-meeting, Zoom call open and everything, trying to upload a file to their group's share OneDrive folder. I pull open the quick menu from the task icon, which I see is showing the classic red X there, a red X indicating there's an issue. It shows an error. File cannot be synced, invalid file name. Below that, the culprit, 666 underscore FNDker Derby 3887 underscore 7 star plus 782 8 £8 at 2 Jesus Christ. That .docx. Oh my God. An accurate recreation, but it started with 666 and was about this length and complexity. Oh my goodness. Wow, that is a whole nother level of cray cray. I inquire with the user as to what possessed him to name his file in such an unholy way. He's getting ready for Diablo, man. Turns out he was asked during the meeting to share an image. He copy pasted the image into a Word file, saved it as unholy file name because he was in a rush, and simply wailed frantically on his keyboard as his peers looked on in horror and attempted to upload that file into their shared OneDrive. Apparently, this is how images has been shared between the members of this group for some time. I showed him how to simply put the image file into the OneDrive folder. I watched from the safety of my remote session as he moved the original image into the folder. It uploaded successfully. The other members of the meeting warbled and screeched in satisfaction. The ritual is complete. I told him to simply delete the Word file. He declined. Note to self, exercise user's laptop tomorrow. Yeah, wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, the chances of someone hitting 666 randomly is like 0.666%. LOL. Yeah, the chance of somebody hitting 666 randomly is like 0.666%. LOL. Yeah, I just don't think that happens often. Like, it was like he started and then he just gave up on life is what this is. That is one of the craziest file names. Like, I'm not even sure at what point did Windows was like, okay, you stupid. He's like, this isn't gonna work at all. misread the tiny title. Okay, I misread the title a tiny bit and kept wailing for when the user's laptop would be set on fire. Glad to hear it's been done tomorrow. Anyway, kill that file with fire. Throw the user on the fire while you're at it for the safety of the TS personnel everywhere. I cringed for a while reading that. Yeah, that is woo Lord. And what's crazy is it probably took him 20 minutes to type all that. Whereas if he actually just used 666 or 66 file or something like that, it would have been done in like 2 seconds. He just wasted his time doing all that just to make it, I don't know, different. That's insane. That's insane. You're insane. That's a lot. That's a lot, Mr. Fox. I'm glad you were able to get him squared away and exercise his PC by throwing holy water on it until it electrified. That's typically how people exercise their computers. All right. Moving on to another one. Okay, we got another professional one. Let me swap it out with one because we just did that one. So okay, cool. We'll do it that way, and we'll finish with that one because it's what 9:08. We'll finish, and then we'll come back to the beginning. Okay, let me grab a few while we're over here. While we're here, might as well grab a few. Boop boop be doo. Ooh, that's pretty. I want that. Boop boop be doo. I don't care if 21 people already commented. Oh, Call of Duty. You enjoying the shoot house? Yeah, I'll take that. I don't even know what that is. Okay, this only has 6 views. I'll take that. And it has a video on it, so that works. All right, cool. Let's get to work. All right, this is from Kasuba. Kasuba? Yeah. Kasuba writes, LG TV screen dark on the edges. That's not good. This TV has never had any issues in the past. In the whole 3 years that we've owned it, suddenly this morning it's very dark on the left and right edges, with about 1/5 of the screen being regularly visible. Initially, when it was turned on, it's fully visible before turning dark. Is this a backlighting issue? Is it fixable? What should I do? Thanks in advance. Does it show this dark screen, this darkness on every input? If so, then yes, this is most likely a backlighting issue, and there isn't much you can do, unfortunately. I don't know how many times I said unfortunately. Have I said it yet? No. Unfortunately. Yeah. There's not a whole lot you can do with that. If it's starting to blacken around the edges, that okay, back in the day when I was a kid, if I started to see my screen or my television, we used to have this gigantic television that you couldn't even pick up, but it was like 30-inch, but it was like it had a huge booty. It was one of those ones that were just very, very big, and you didn't even want to pick it up. It was like made out of wood, and it started going out by doing that. The sides will actually start to go out, and you couldn't see it, and that's typically a telltale sign that their TV is getting ready to go out. But we kept it as a shelf for like 20 years. But I think somebody threw it out. But yeah, my mom and them kept it as a shelf for a very long time. Even though I wasn't even there for 20 years, but that's what I heard. That little monitor, that TV had been used for a shelf for a very long time. Okay, let's go ahead and grab this one too. All right, so this is from Big Vacation. My phone makes my video sound weird. Okay. So I got a new phone, the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G, back in August 2022. And whenever I try to take a quick video via camera, Snapchat or Instagram, the audio on my messages gets really weird. Does anyone know how to fix that? Well, those apps like to add audio to your videos. By any chance, does the audio sound bad when viewing from turning on my Samsung phone? I don't remember the name of the app. I remember the name of the app on the iPhone though. Oh, okay. So it's just camera. It's just, if y'all can see that, it's just a camera app right there. Okay. By any chance, does the audio sound bad when viewing from the camera app. Hello, OJ. Nelsie. I don't know. I don't know what OJ means, but hi, Nelsie. How's it going, bro? Or Brodet. By any chance, does the audio sound bad when viewing from the camera app? Yeah, that's kind of, yeah, with that one there, that's kind of how I would play that one. You know, you know, with that one there, a lot of times, like if you put it on TikTok, TikTok likes to add its own audio. A lot of these do, so it could be that it's adding audio to his, and his audio may actually be fine, but it makes my video sound weird. Sound weird. But by chance, does the audio sound bad when viewing from the camera app? Yeah, no, I'll leave it at that. Also, try to update the firmware on the phone just to be sure, as well as the software, as well as the software, TikTok, Instagram, etc. Yeah, you may also want to do an update, but yeah, it kind of really just kind of depends on what he's talking about, because if it's a bad audio and it's a bad audio everywhere, then it may be a little different. So, you know, it really kind of just depends on the situation, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and just be like, okay, well, I would try this and see what happens. Alrighty, big vacation. Okay, let's go ahead and do this long one. Alrighty, professors and stuff. Okay. Fan, I'm sorry. Sorry, I hit my fan. Okay. Can everybody hear me? Yes, they can. Okay, so this is from ASCII Forever. ASCII writes, a laptop held hostage. This tale is from about 20 years ago when I was fairly new at my university sysadmin job. Apologies for length. Trust me, I've abridged this. Okay. Our cast of characters, me, your humble narrator, Professor B, on the faculty of my department, always professional with me, but has a reputation for being extremely stubborn under a veneer of reasonableness. Wow, this is a whole book. Professor A, on the faculty of a different department, extremely stubborn and inflexible, and does not care what temperature revenge is served out at. And DH, in other posts I've done, he's $Big Boss. Very smart guy, but not a great administrator. Does not like dealing with management issues. And then there's Mike, department head of Professor A. Actually a totally cool guy. Great sense of humor. Actually does stand-up comedy as a side gig. And $N, lab assistant for Professor A. Like me, she's caught in the middle of this farce. One of my collateral responsibilities was the department equipment inventory. All assets worth over a certain dollar amount had to be tracked and accounted for every year. In my case, it almost all computers with a few other items like expensive furniture thrown in. Since it was mostly computers, I ended up with this project. Most other departments who had very few items assigned this task to one of the clerical staff. Anyway, one day I get a call from Professor B. He says since I'm the inventory monkey, he'd like me to track down a laptop. Kind of a strange request, but the details soon reveal a real mess. Professor B loaned this laptop to Professor A, who is in a different department, but is also someone he was doing joint research with. However, Professor B and Professor A are married and in the process of getting divorced. And no, this is not a friendly parting of ways. Professor B, which is the angry one, has tried to get this laptop back since he was a new graduate student joining his team, and he wants to give it to the new student. Professor A basically will not talk to him, ignores his calls and emails, and told him to take a running F at a rolling donut. So me, being the inventory guy, can officially ask Professor A to return the laptop to Professor B, explains this all to me in a calm, professional manner. Nothing to get excited about. It should be a piece of cake. I don't see a way. So basically, you got Professor A and Professor B, and they're dealing with a divorce, and he's hired to be the police officer in between them, which usually never goes well. I don't see a way to dodge this request. Inventory is my responsibility. I look up the laptop in our database. It's several years old, nothing fancy at all. Clearly, this isn't really about the laptop. Professor B could buy a new one for a student. He has plenty of funding. This is about sticking it to his soon-to-be ex I've met Professor A. She is not an easy person to work with. Everything is my way or the highway with her. With a sense of impending doom, I fire off an email to Professor A asking politely when would be a good time for me to pick up the laptop since Professor B needs it back. Do not say that. Do not say that. I would say, hey, I need to get this laptop from inventory. I believe you're not using it anymore. Do you mind if I can go ahead and pick that up? Never mention Professor B to Professor A if they're going through a divorce. That's like a police officer walking up and saying, "What's the problem?" and then try to split it between them. Like you're doing too much. Just you don't even have to get in the middle of that or even mention Professor B's name to Professor A because you already know it's a sore spot. And hell empties as all devils descend upon me. Yeah, you asked for that, bro. You should have never said his name. Professor A calls me. I am subjected to a 30-minute tirade about how horrible Professor B is. Yeah, you asked for that. He could solve this issue in 1 second if he wanted to. He's just being stubborn and mean, and he's a terrible person. This goes on and on. I keep asking about getting the laptop back. Hey, ma'am, I just want to do my job, okay? She ups the ante by telling me that Professor B has some equipment that belongs to her, and he hasn't returned it, and nothing will happen until this is done. This is all new information, so I tell her I'll follow up on this and discuss things with Professor B. It turns out that Professor A is actually at a conference in a different city, so it might be difficult to reach her. I email Professor B. He responds that he doesn't see what one issue has to do with the other. Professor A has to return the laptop. Typical. Professor B responds with logic to Professor A's emotion. I assume it's clear to one and all that both these folks are on pretty high horses and no one is thinking about climbing down. I explained that he may very well be correct, but maybe this is the easiest way to get the laptop back. We do not track the equipment that Professor A wants back. It's a couple of semi-fancy monitors. After some discussion, Professor B decides to task one of his students to go through the paperwork to see if we can find them. Turns out this student actually finds the paperwork, including the serial numbers, and I collect them from Professor B's lab and exchange them for the laptop. We're in Bridge of Spies territory. Okay. I email Professor A. I have the monitors. Can I bring them over and get the laptop? Professor A's lab is in the building next door. I get a response. Now I'm informed that Professor A also wants a computer back. Professor A has no information on it, model number, serial number, or university asset tag number. It has a host name of L, and Professor B knows which one it is, and if it is a return, no laptop. I tell her I need more information to see if I can track this down. Professor A tells me she has no information, but Professor B knows what she is talking about, and he can find the computer in 2 seconds if he would just make the effort. Oh no, she didn't. I go back to Professor B with the latest demand. He hits the roof. He recycles host names, so he has no idea which computer she is talking about. He says she's making this up, and besides, these issues are not related. It's his laptop and he wants it back. I need to do whatever I need to do to make this happen. At this point, I get on the phone to the university property department. I get someone in management on the line and explain my situation. Manager person groans. This is not her first rodeo, apparently. I need to escalate to DH. He can contact the star Mike, which are other characters. They can try to work it out. If that doesn't do it, we'll take the two deans. If that doesn't do it, the provost's office. Maybe the university legal office will need to be roped in. I'm totally depressed by this time. This laptop is worth a couple $100 tops. I almost want to buy one on eBay out of my own pocket just to make this go away. But then I think, screw this. If the university wants to pay me, a senior sysadmin, to deal with a couple of prima donna professors, so be it. So I jump back into the rabbit hole and resume my tour of Wonderland. They'll be playing with them professors, doctors, anybody in that higher position that's like unionized. You don't want to play with them cats. Even if you are trying to play marriage counselor. I write the whole thing up in an email, send it to DH, CC my boss, and Professor B. I am careful to make no value judgments, just the facts, ma'am. DH tries to contact Mike, so he's out of the office on jury duty. I'm to contact Professor A again. Tell her I am bringing her monitors over and I'll be expecting to pick up the laptop. All this goes into a new email, and a few minutes later, my phone rings. Professor A is on the line, outraged. She will not give the laptop back. In fact, she hopes nothing bad will happen to it. Uh-oh. I ask where it is. Is it on the campus? It's somewhere in our city. I tell her I'm working on instructions from DH. She could care less. DH is not the boss of her. I'm totally astounded. It's like I'm dealing with an 8-year-old. She tells me once I have all her equipment delivered to her lab, Star N will provide the laptop. There was a whole side mission about trying to scrape up an old desktop to see if we could pass it off as L, but eventually it was decided that this was too stupid for words. Oh man, he's playing Grand Theft Auto at this point. In the end, I loaded the monitors, old CRTs, like 60 pounds each, on a cart and took them over to the other building. There was one spot where I had to unload the monitors and carry them up a couple of steps, then drag the cart up the steps and reload the monitors. Joys of older, non-ADA compliant buildings. I got to Professor A's lab with the monitors and met $N. She was a very nice young lady, seemed as embarrassed as I was about this entire charade. I explained that I had the monitors, I would like the laptop, and says, sorry, she has instructions, no L computer, no laptop. Okay, she's following her boss's order, nothing for it. I wheel everything down the main office in this building and ask if there's a room I can leave the cart and monitors overnight since it was almost 5 p.m. and didn't want to lug the monitor and cart down the steps. I go back to the office, write up another email to DH, and then I go home. Later that evening, I get a reply from DH. I'm to see him first thing next morning. He's been in contact with Mike by email. Hopefully, we'll be able to wrap this up. Next morning, in with DH. He is totally peed off, but he's talked to Mike and we're ready to resolve this. DH and I stroll over to the other building. DH is muttering the whole time. I feel the same as he does. This whole thing is just dumb. Two grown people, university professors, can't resolve their petty differences and have dragged all of us into this crazy situation. That's what a divorce is. We meet with Mike, who is just as amazed by the whole thing as we are. We have talked to Professor A and got the same treatment I did. A 30-minute phone call explaining that Professor B was the devil incarnate. Why couldn't we all see it? It's like Professor B had cast spells on all of us so couldn't see how evil he was. But Professor A isn't fooled. She knows the truth and she will make Professor B pay in blood. Wow. I retrieved the cart and monitors from storage room and we ride up the elevator to the lab. Mike is mostly laughing things off. I'm glad someone is enjoying this because I'm not sure I am. $N is in the lab. Mike politely asks her for the laptop and politely hands the laptop to Mike. Mike hands the laptop to me and asks me to verify that it is the correct unit. I check the asset number and confirm that this is the laptop in question. So N's yardarm is clear. She gave the laptop to Mike, not me. I unload the two monitors and we exit the lab. Okay, so basically he got the laptop through transitive property. Basically, Professor A and Professor B were like a pair of scissors. They could spend all day going snip, snip, snip at each other without doing either of them any harm. But God help any poor soul that got in between them. There's a sequel to story, but this is long enough. Yes, this is long as hell. All right, so yeah, man, you never want to. Okay. Never get in between two people arguing. I'm sorry. I know that people say, oh yeah, you're supposed to get in between them or be a man and all that. No. I'm going to be alive over here and I'll let them work that out because all that's going to happen is I'm going to be the one that end up shot and they're going to work it out and they'll be together. They won't even attend my funeral. So no, I'm not about to get in the middle of that. And you don't want to get in the middle of that. That's for the police and their lawyers. I don't get in the middle of that. I would have never even mentioned his name to her. Like that's where you messed up. You should never mention his name. But I get that you tried to do what you were trying to do and you were trying to do your job. But man, look. Yeah. Tech support by what was he, a sysadmin? Sysadmin by day, marriage counselor by night. Yeah, that's a harsh one, man. That is, whew. That's a lot of work. If you want a puppy, ask for a pony. Dear Professor A, the laptop in question was purchased using funds from a grant from a big federal agency. If it's not returned by close of business, we will be forced to open an investigation with the Inspector General of a big federal agency. This may impact your ability to and the university's ability to receive funding from big federal agency. That's not gonna work. You can't scare a person that is unionized, especially if they're a professor and like they're like a well-known professor and they've been doing it for years. You're not gonna scare them. Any like doctors, lawyers, professors, anybody that's been at that position for a while, even attendings, and like, well, not necessarily attending, like either attending or like the actual physician, like once they're attending, you can't scare them. At that point, it's hard to scare them because now they're the lead, they're the leader. Even if bosses are ahead of them, bosses aren't going to get rid of a professor that's been there for 13 years. And so, you know, like 13, 14 years, you're not going to get rid of a professor. Or in the same way, you're not going to get rid of a doctor, and you're not going to get rid of a physician. You're not going to get rid of a surgeon. You're not going to get rid of an engineer. Those positions that take years and years and years and years and years and years of training, it's very hard to get rid of you once you start to get really in depth in there, especially if you keep your mouth shut. So yeah, it's this was known as rolling out the big guns. Yeah, I like the way he got rid of it and he was able to do the trade because now she just traded to Mike and not him. Therefore, she didn't violate her orders. So, man, I think everybody was just kind of tired of it and they just wanted to go home and go to sleep. My colleague's police department takes dim view of such shenanigans. Yeah. You mean to let a police officer handle that, man. You don't want to get in the middle of that Professor A, Professor B nonsense. But that was an excellent story, bro. I'm glad you told us. Alrighty, moving right on along here. What's up, gentlemen? I just got a 4090 in my Revolt 3. That's not gonna work. A case isn't going to cut it. Has anyone seen an awesome case for this GPU yet? It doesn't have to be tiny, just simple. Would love a handle on the top. A handle? Well, no. Yeah, this totally doesn't fit. I have the exact same Revolt. Like, I already knew it wasn't going to fit because of this right here. This right here, this pin is going to stick out. So even if it could fit in there, it doesn't matter because you would never get the pin in there. Because this thing here, this the side panel, it lies flush on this guy. So there was no way. You had no shot. Zero shot. I realized that when I was trying to put mine in the Revolt. Because the Revolt is the same size as the Meshalicious, but it doesn't fit. Meshalicious, but at the same time, there is no handle, but you can buy one. But yeah, that's what you do. For the 4090, in order to get in the small form factor build, you would want to use the Meshalicious. Meshalicious still allows you to use that exact same 280mm radiator, plus still be able to use that 4090, and it'll allow for the pins to come across, and it'll go behind this 280mm. So that's exactly what you would want. You would want the Meshalicious. It doesn't fit on anything else, but it's good to know. I mean, I didn't actually try to put it in there and find out if it fitted or not. I just saw that I saw a few on Reddit saying that it wouldn't fit because of the VPH power or whatever. It's kind of hard to get that thing to go flat enough that you can actually put the lid back on it or the side panel back on it. But yeah, Meshalicious. Here before everybody tells you NR200. NR200, yeah, but I would say Meshalicious. A4H2O, that's also correct. Nobody says Meshalicious. Well, maybe because they haven't tried to build in it. Meshalicious, confirmed to work. That's what mine is in. Save edit. But NR200, can NR200 have a handle? I don't think so. Yeah. It doesn't have a handle. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, I thought I wasn't going crazy. Yeah, the NR200 doesn't have a handle, so I'm not even sure. But we're in the same boat. But yeah, NR200, but it's kind of fat. I don't know about the Form DT1. The Sliger SM maybe, but I know the Sliger SM580 doesn't work, so Pi 60 probably wouldn't work either. Sliger SM580 doesn't work, so let me reply. Sliger SM580 doesn't work. It's not... Okay, well, Sliger SM580 didn't work with the gigabyte model, so may not fit. It's not because it's too wide, it's because it's too long. Well, also because it's too wide, but mostly because it's too long. But yeah, if I can ever get my Sliger to work, I would actually just go with the Sliger. The Sliger SM580 is this guy. Sliger SM580. It's this guy and it has a handle. It's pretty sweet. It's this guy. And it comes with a handle and it's very pretty. But this one's open. But okay, nobody's gonna show the side panel. Okay, whatever. But that's the Sliger. And on the other side is the graphics card, but it's really hard to get it to fit properly. Yeah, that's the Sliger. It can fit up to a 3-slot GPU, but if you look this size, this is what the problem is, the length. My 4090 would not fit in this length because my 4090 is the exact same size as this guy is long. Alrighty, so we got another one here. So I saw his name, a Septile fan. Hey, I like Septile too. Mostly because of his speed, but also because, you know, he has a leak in his mouth. If anybody doesn't know who Septile is, it is a grass Pokemon, Septile. And he has a leak that he usually has in his mouth. Septile fan. I restarted my computer and now it's giving me the prompt to install Windows. Okay. Ooh, I restarted my computer and now it's giving me the prompt to install Windows. So I recently got a second monitor and it wasn't connecting from motherboard HDMI. So I restarted my computer to go into BIOS to see if there was anything I could do about it. So I snooped around BIOS, didn't change anything. And when I saved and launched, it showed the Windows setup screen. My original USB that I downloaded Windows from is still plugged in. I tried re-downloading Windows to see what happens and it says my SSD can't download Windows. That my SSD can't download Windows? Windows setup screen, my original USB that I downloaded Windows from is still plugged in. Okay, so if you unplug the USB drive, does that fix the issue and let you log in? Is this a it's going to connect to the motherboard. Also, is this a desktop or laptop? Oh. Okay, so if you unplug the USB drive, does that fix the issue and let you log in? Also, is this a desktop or laptop? Re-download and see what happens. I tried re-downloading Windows to see what happens, and it says that my SSD can't download Windows. Also, it's possible. Well, there's no point in saying it. I'll say it to y'all though. It's possible that his SSD is corrupted and he may need to fragment or defragment it or wipe it, depending on the situation. So I would say to unplug the USB drive to see if it tries to boot, because you might be able to save it if you can boot in a safe mode or something like that, or if let it run ScanDisk on it or something along those lines. But if that's not the case, then also we need to know if it's a desktop or a laptop, because if it's a laptop, then that's more than likely the only drive. But if it's a desktop, there may be other drives that take precedence, which means we may have to go into BIOS and promote it so that it actually sees it as a drive. That's the reason why I'm asking. But it's better just to ask and see what he replies with than to type all that. Okay, let's see here. You enjoying Shoot House? Well, this is, oh, that's what they call it now, Shoot House. This is Firing Range, but they probably changed the Shoot House. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. This map, it's it's I don't like it anymore because I don't have, it's not like it used to be when it was straight up Firing Range. Shoot House, COD, Modern Warfare, or Warzone, whatever it's called. Images. Yeah. So it's like this, but originally you should be able to go up into these, but now you can't anymore, and that's what I don't like. But Shoot House is pretty sweet. It's an okay map, especially it being kind of short range, and because I run a riot shield a lot, which is riot shield, and then I throw knives at people. It's pretty nice here because you can kind of protect yourself. But Shoot House is okay. It's not as good as Shipment, which is that little square, and you can literally spawn and just instantly die. But I mean, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I don't have any problems with it. I miss going Tinto. I miss going into the rooms and sniping from the top of the watchtower. And sniping from the top of the watchtower. Yeah. I miss going into the room and sniping from the top of the watchtower. Yeah, exactly. The watchtower part, there used to be this giant watchtower, like this thing right here. That's the watchtower. You used to be able to climb up it. It takes like 20 minutes, and you'll probably get shot while you're climbing up it. But if you make it to the top, you can just kill everyone. You can see everyone. It was great. It was a good time. Okay. Yeah, cool. So we got this one left, and it's 9:37. I'll probably grab a couple more. Let's see. I don't want to grab too many. Ooh. I'll look at it. Why not? Oh. Yeah, a Mac issue. I'll take it. All right. All right, let me get the headset so we can hear this together. Okay. Let's do that. All right. When I press the on button, the light flickers and the PC won't turn on. It's an MSI Triton 3 10th gen. More in the comments. Nah, man, that's not good. Maybe power. Yeah. Doesn't look good, bro. Possibly did power supply or power supply. It's a laptop though, right? It's a laptop. Oh no, it's not a laptop. It's a Triton 10th gen. More in comments. Okay, yeah, this isn't a laptop. Though it looks like it is. MSI Triton 3. 10th gen. Triton 3? Oh, so it's one of these all-in-one PCs. Well, not necessarily all-in-one, but a pre-built PC. Well, if it's a pre-built PC, doesn't look good, bro. Possibly dead power supply. Might be able to check the warranty to see if you can get it ARM-made. Yeah, but there's not a whole lot to say on that guy. That guy looks like it's on its way out. There's nothing, you know, you can try to swap out power supplies or whatever. It's an all-in-one unit, so that means that power supply is going to be soldered to the well, not necessarily soldered to the motherboard, but it's not easily replaceable because it's an all-in-one PC. Not necessarily all-in-one PC, but a custom-built PC and a custom-built chassis, which means that he probably has a custom power supply. So yeah, I feel like the PC only turns on partly. Bruh, I had a GT 1030 that looked just like your GPU in my motherboard, or your PSU took a dump. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the power supply, man. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good at all. Alrighty. Okay, cool. So we started at God of War. So we'll answer these last two and we'll call it. I got this bundle for $80. Oh, Smash Brothers on the Wii. That's pretty sweet. And Super Mario 3D World. Excellent game, especially on the Wii U. And then Nintendo Land. I actually taught my mom how to play on the Wii U. And the original Wii. She used to play the hell out of those games. And yeah, with the two controllers and the Wii U, I would so get that just for the nostalgic purposes. That Wii U was so fire. It was so fire. I used to get sick when Super Mario Galaxy came out. That game, like trying to play it for the first time when it first came out, made you sick to your stomach because the whole world tilting and everything. Oh my God, it was so sickening, but it was pretty sweet. And plus, this thing can play it on its own without having to be plugged into the TV. Oh my God, such good memories. Such good memories. Take my money. Yeah, that's such good memories. Take my money. This is a still good job. Beyond good still. Yeah, that's a pretty good job, man. I like that. That's a pretty good build too, or a pretty good setup with the best games too. Well, I don't know about Nintendo Land, but Super Mario 3D World and Super Smash Brothers for show. All right, what's the next one? Is this fixable? Is what fixable? What are we talking about? Are you talking about that debris that's underneath the monitor? Is what fixable? That looks like a screen protector. Looks like a screen protector. Right here. That looks like a screen protector. Do I have a Mac near me? No, I don't. Okay, so yeah, it looks like a screen protector is what fixable. That looks like a screen protector if that's what you are referring to. May be able to peel it off. Okay, let's check and make sure that Folded Meat hasn't replied back. No, he hasn't. Okay, just making sure. Folded Meat, we got your back, bro. Alrighty. Yeah, yeah, it just looks like it can be peeled off. Yeah, there's a Google articles about this. Definitely a lot of methods to follow. In the end, you're rubbing the remaining anti-reflective coating off so it all matches. That's just where the anti-reflective coating has been eroded, probably by a solvent-based glass cleaner. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I've never actually seen it get that bad though. But yeah, it almost looks like it can be peeled off, but I'm not exactly sure if you can or if you have to use something to remove it. So yeah, I'll just go with what these guys say. Control Command 5. All right, well, we'll just call it at that. Pimpolin. I like these names. I can actually pronounce them. Alrighty, guys, we're gonna go ahead and call it here. It's getting kind of late, and looks like we don't have any questions. So yeah. Alrighty, I will see you guys tomorrow. It has been a pleasure. This is the site for that dude's dope mouse pad. And if you like this video, go ahead and like button. If you really like it, I'm going to subscribe. I love you either way. Take care. All the best. And bye. I'll keep trying to play with how I want to do the whole different videos and maybe do some little bit on real estate and things that are easily, like it's not so in depth, and see if that's a little bit more entertaining. But I guess we'll find out. Alrighty. Y'all have a good one. Take care. Love ya.